We've got the tactical response crew here at the NRA annual meeting. And for better or worse, I did not get reelected to the board, but there is one more spot available. They call it the 76 member. It was the first time I ever ran for the board. I went for the 76 member, and a bunch of tactical response people came out to support us, and I did get elected. What I'm asking you guys now is to, if you're available, come on over to Atlanta. If you are a 5-year NRA member or a life member, pop on over to the voting booth and vote for me. What we're looking for is to get reelected to the NRA board as a 76 member so we can continue our representation and continue our mindset within the NRA as we are slowly converting people to the way that we believe and we act about the Second Amendment. So,
treating it as it was written, not to protect hunting rights only.
correct.
Like, let's call it like it is. That's what's happening here.
So, since then, one more member of the board has started carrying a gun.
Okay.
So we now have 3 out of 76.
So let's tell us, what were some of the changes that happened while you held your membership? Like some of those things, like the kind of changes I'm talking about are what you just brought up. Like, how many more people do you know that carry a gun that are higher up in the NRA? I'm not asking for names, but
yeah. So my first year as a board member of the NRA was shocking, disappointing, and interesting. So it was shocking in that I thought more of the board members were going to be like me. I thought they were going to be professional members of the community. I thought they were going to have the right mindset regarding the Second Amendment. I thought they were all going to be carrying and flying with their guns to board meetings. Like, that's what I thought.
right.
The shocking part was almost nobody carried a gun. People were put out with the whole concept of flying to a board meeting with a gun. Nobody had met. That became really apparent as I kept saving people's lives, and Heather kept saving people's lives. Like, they'd go, "Where did that CLOS come from?" "My ankle kit. I mount that, and I got to go buy it again," right? So those were some of the shocking things. The interesting things were what I realized about the NRA. So I thought the NRA was just a good old Second Amendment organization. They sued when your rights were violated, and I was more wrong than I could ever imagine. The NRA safeguards ranges, which is a super important facet of the Second Amendment. The way that English rights were taken away was they first outlawed all the ranges to shoot a gun, and then they said, well, since you can't shoot them, we'll just take your guns. The NRA safeguards ranges at the municipal level, and no other organization does that. They have an entire range committee, range regulations, range financial support. Like, that's important.
Marcus.
Second thing they do is they are proactive when it comes to legislation. Look, I'm a member of the FPC, I'm a member of the GOA. Like, those are important. I want to sue that our rights are violated.
Right.
But the NRA is proactive in crafting legislation to keep our rights from getting violated.
Okay.
They are the ones that
Preventative maintenance.
Preventative maintenance.
Right? Like, and that always works better than fixing something after it's broken.
Correct. Exactly. The third one is accountability. Again, the interesting thing about the NRA that I really didn't know is they look at the voting record of every politician and they assign a grade of A through F on how did they support the Second Amendment. They're holding congressmen, senators, judges, DAs.
Is there a place where we can go to find that list and see what they're graded at?
So if you go to ILA, it's on the NRA website, there's a link, you will actually see the grade of all of the politicians that you're affected by at the state level, the federal level, the community level.
Now, I have a question specifically on behalf of our people.
Yeah.
What standards are they grading them against? Like,
Right.
Is it the good old boy system NRA standards, or is it standards that you or I would grade them at?
So they are progressing, so that's actually that's a great question. It's a constantly evolving level of grading.
Okay.
So it was the good old boys before. The new ILA members have recreated that grading system to be one that would be more representative of how we feel about politicians.
Okay.
And one of the questions I actually asked today, because somebody said, well, how do I get supported by the NRA? So Ryan, this one's for you if you're watching. If you're running for a political office, if you're running at the federal level, there is a federal representative that you would reach out to for the NRA. You could contact your friends of the NRA rep, you could contact your local Iowa rep, and they will put you in contact with that person.
Now, explain what the ILA department is.
So,
like for the people, because
yes.
that is the part that we want to know about
Yeah.
specifically.
So ILA is the Institute for Legislative Action. It is a division of the NRA. They're the ones that sue. They did the Bruin case, the Heller case. They do the really big stuff. They're the ones that do all the grading for the politicians.
Okay.
They're also the ones that have the only accepted committee at the UN to monitor infringements of domestic law from UN policies.
Okay, that's a big deal.
That's a really
That's
big deal.
like, that's huge.
Every other gun organization has tried to get a committee at the UN,
Mhm.
and they have shot themselves in the foot. So what the NRA has done, they've created great relationships at the UN level. They're able to find all of these treaties that would violate our rights, and then they go to the politicians and they actually use some legal pressure to prevent those treaties from getting enacted and having our rights violated at the UN level, which is pretty cool.
And one of the most common complaints that I hear in general about the NRA is like how much they back down and how much we're giving them an inch and da 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 da. Like that's how politics works.
Right.
It'd be awesome if we could go in and be like, these are our demands, meet them. But that's not how this stuff works, and it has to be that back and forth. And like you said, the NRA is the only organization at a global level for us,
Right.
global level, that has any say about it.
Well, and on top of that, one of the things
That's working on our behalf
Right.
specifically. Like other people say stuff, but
So the NRA is currently the largest membership organization supporting and defending the Second Amendment. We have 3.5 to 4 million members. We could come in with a bigger stick if we had more members. That's one of the
so
things
join the NRA.
Exactly. If we have 5 million members, now we have a bigger stick. We have 10 million members, now we can come in and go, meet our demands or never get reelected.
Yeah.
And so that's something that people miss.
Mhm.
30 million people in the United States think they're members of the NRA. We have 3.5 million. That's a 10 times factor. People have forgotten, oh, my membership lapsed, or I own a gun, aren't I a member of the NRA?
Hey, your membership won't lapse if you buy a lifetime.
Exactly.
And you get to vote immediately if you buy that lifetime. So do that.
And if you reach out to Tactical Response and you DM me, they have just said that they are still going to accept the $600 lifetime membership that you can literally only get because I send you the form.
I think it's 24 hours. Last year, I tried to vote right after buying. I think I did have to wait 24 hours or something.
Yeah.
So do that tonight or tomorrow, because you can only vote through Sunday at the convention.
Saturday.
Saturday for this.
Okay, so buy that tonight or like pre-noon tomorrow.
I think it was
To be able
24
to
hours,
vote.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There had to be time to get you on the rolls
Yeah.
and to be able to verify.
Yeah. So those are some of the factors that the NRA, that's why I was like, oh crap, the NRA is actually more important than I gave it credit for. Because I belong to the other Second Amendment organizations and I thought, well, I'm complaining about the NRA.
Yep.
And anyone that knows my wife knows, she says, you can't complain unless you do something about it.
That part.
And so we made that effort. And I tell people the story. The only reason why I took this endeavor with the NRA is I was asked to be on the board. I was at a contractor class. We were on our way to Beaver Dam to have a cold beer on Friday. And I had some guys in the back seat of my truck, and my wife was in the front seat. And they called, and I said, I gotta talk to my wife, I'll call you back later. They said, we need your answer right away. So I'm driving to Beaver Dam, my wife says, hey, I think you should. You can't complain unless you do something about it. And all of these guys in the back seat said, there's nobody like us on the board.
Right.
Please do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, to be honest.
And we worked our best, like we did
Exactly.
the videos and stuff, and I have like spouted to anyone that would listen, like, hey guys, we got somebody like us on there now. Like, we ain't Kendrick Lamar over here. Y'all ain't like us. We got people like us now.
And we have slowly been changing the mindset of the NRA. Now, I'll be honest, the second year was my epiphany.
There's none.
Yeah. So the second year was my epiphany of learning that the NRA operates like a legislative body. That was the toughest part, was learning. I had to go build alliances and build groups of people to pass through the types of legislation that we would want. Probably the biggest win that we had at Tactical Response was I was sitting in the Legislative Action Committee. Just so you know, you will probably only get appointed to one, maybe two committees on the NRA. So they have 30 or 40 different committees. Those committees might be range development, they might be legislative action, they might be finance, which is kind of my forte, they might be membership, they might be competitive shooting, F-class, whatever. So there's about 40 different committees. You're only going to be appointed to one or two. I attend every committee that I can fit in my schedule because that is part of me doing my due diligence for our members of the NRA. Completely reluctantly. It sucks up my schedule and it sucks. But I was in legislative action and I raised my hand and I said, hey, what are we doing about simunition bans? They said, what's simunition? I wish I was joking. So I literally brought up several articles, brought them to the attorneys, and I said, this is what's going on, this is how we're affected, what can you do? They went and researched it. They came back the next day and they said, there's nothing we can do about the ban because of the way that they did it. There's no law we can file, there's no suit we can do. The ban for importation is ironclad. However, there's a loophole for domestic production. I said, well, who produces it domestically? They're like, let's find out. We'll come back to you tomorrow. So they came back to me tomorrow and they said, okay, these are the 3 manufacturers domestically that make ammunition. I said, great. What are you going to do about it? What do you want us to do? I'd like you to send them a letter saying that you have their back if they continue to sell for civilian trade.
Oh, yeah.
I said, oh, we can do that. And so they sent out that letter, domestic production increased.
Yeah.
And guess what? We now get to use ammunition domestically for civilian trade, right? That would not have happened if somebody like us wasn't on the board to even bring that up.
No, that would not have happened had you not been in that meeting that day.
That's true.
Like, and this is a specific instance, like where it's, you were the one that saved that. But like other meetings happen like that.
Right.
So like what you were saying, where somebody like us, guys, the only way to get more people like us on the board is to have more members like us.
And my goal, truthfully, is to not be on the board.
Right, you want to pass the buck.
I want to pass it,
else.
exactly. I want to get more people like us on the board so I can hand off and with confidence and comfort go, whew, I did my work. You guys learned how to get on the board. You learned how to vote. You learned how to influence the NRA. My job is done. Till then, I'm probably stuck on the board, right? Like,
Right.
I'm still going to have that endeavor on our behalf. So that was kind of my second year. My third year, we started moving the needle. So I started getting guys to start carrying guns. I got a couple of guys to start carrying medical. We would go out to dinner and we would get them to show medical. I'm like, oh, like, what are you carrying? And he's like, I'm carrying this tourniquet. I'm carrying these gloves. And so that started improving the outcome of the NRA. Now today, one of the guys was like, what's that on your right ankle? I'm like, well, it's my medical kit. Oh, how do I get one of those? And so, because they remembered that when one of our members fell, Heather and I literally whipped out the stuff on our medical kit and began treating a non-stopping bleed, right? So they were like, yeah, how do we get that stuff? Actually, one of the interesting things, the head of security of the NRA is looking to start having trauma bags available at all the different meetings. And I brought that up during one of the security meetings. Yep, it's one of those committee meetings I went to.
Yeah.
I said, hey, where's our trauma gear? Like, honestly, if me and Heather are the only ones here with trauma gear, and there is a trauma event, what are you guys gonna do?
Especially a mass.
Yeah,
mass
Like, if
gathering.
you think, like, the NRA, like, you're like, everybody's carrying a gun. No, they're not. And, like, we are not the hard target we wish to be. So if you think of, like, an active shooter or something coming into an event like that,
And there
like-
might be this many people with a gun, but even fewer.
who are
With
willing
medical,
and capable to use the gun,
Well,
and
but
then, yeah,
the
even
medicals,
fewer
yeah.
with medical, even fewer than that, willing and capable, like,
And training and.
Mhm.
now today was actually quite fun because we had the support of tactical response. We have the right people here.
mhm.
So today on my membership committee meeting, membership is one of the things I'm passionate about because I realized that the NRA is ill-equipped to reach out to millennials and Gen Z.
Don't say.
The two largest, the two
Yeah.
largest populations in the United States, the NRA has not realized how to reach out.
Yeah.
got the baby boomers down.
Yeah, so,
They're easy.
so I
They
asked,
still check their mail.
right, well,
Magazine.
and that's why I invited our members to come to the membership meeting, got the approval of the chair, and they sat nice and quiet and respectfully during the meeting,
Who went to the meeting today?
and I.
We didn't go until later, so.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I was on a plane.
I haven't picked this guy up, I haven't.
Excuses, yep.
To be honest, here's the thing, those that did show up, used their voice, and that was one of the most impressive things.
And it was listened to.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Well received.
appreciate it, yeah, for sure.
So,
The
Yeah,
fact
you
that those
did.
messages are now being well received, where 10 years ago, they weren't.
right,
Like, they weren't well received. So there are, like, trackable changes
Yeah.
being made, and it's only happening because more people like us are becoming members, and you in particular stepping up to the board, like, you can track the changes you have made.
and I can see it, but in all honesty, it's all of you guys that are making the difference. Every time one of you becomes a member, every time one of you becomes a life member, my platform improves and strengthens, right? Like I said, we don't get to carry a big stick unless we have 5 million members or 10 million members, right? Like, that's when you get to go to the politicians and go, hey, we have 10 million or 15 million. Because,
I think it's crazy that 30 million people believe they are NRA members, and it's actually only 10% of that.
and that's why I want us having more control.
Where do they get that figure from?
So they do a survey. They do literally, so it's not even us. CNN and Fox and other organizations do a survey on who's a member of the NRA. 30 million people identify that they're a member of the NRA. And it's
Layoff.
10% of that, right?
How many vote?
Yeah.
Talk about the survey.
Yeah,
A couple
It's
percent.
slow, it's slow.
so
It's insane.
out of the 3.5 to 4 million members, about 50,000 people total vote on their ballots for who's going to be on the board. Like I said, unfortunately, I did not get elected this year.
But you're still
But we're
trying
still
to get
trying.
that 76.
Correct.
See,
How many people is it gonna take for you to win the 76? What did we win last time with?
So we won last time with 370 votes, and that was the largest turnout in over a decade.
Who won it last year?
The person that won it last year, won the 76 vote, won it with 80 votes.
Jesus.
I know we have 80 alumni here.
Correct.
All it takes is all of us going to vote. Not at this house. In,
Pretty close.
in Atlanta, we have 80 alumni here.
Yeah.
Like, they might not even know we're here too, but like,
So, and that's why we're doing this, right? Is
Okay.
I was willing to take the break and
Mhm.
take a breath and get my life back. And, you know, my wife even said, hey, if you don't get elected, I'm not upset. And I said, but do you feel
hold
that
on,
the,
pause for just a second. Go ahead and block that guy.
I
I'm
believe
not
someone's
saying
not
his
right.
name
Yeah.
out loud on here because it's one of those like bend over names, except way more vulgar and not cool with those kind of jokes on this channel. go ahead and like
You can do that, can't you?
block that dude. Oh, here, you can have your phone back, block that guy. Fuck him.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
Sorry, that name, just, it rubbed me wrong as soon as I saw it and kind of pissed me off, so, sorry.
Yeah.
So
Go
can
ahead.
you explain how they vote for the seven, if they are here, what they
Yes.
have to do?
So,
It's not, it's
yeah,
not super
it is
easy.
not easily transparent.
Yeah.
So to vote for the 76 member, there is literally like a little check-in booth. So you go in and they verify that you're eligible to vote. They go through all the rules of the NRA, they look you up by name. They go, yep, you're eligible to vote. And then they give you a ballot. You walk into one of the black curtains, you fill in your little circle, and you drop it in the ballot box. That is literally what it takes, but it's not like right there on the convention floor.
You have to go and seek
Yeah.
it out.
So literally, all of these guys, hopefully you have contacts or reach out to anybody, Kayla, Joey, Richard, Marcus.
Text us, whatever.
Yep,
If we're on the Signal group, you can, you can text the tactical response, the 731-676-2041. I'm not giving my personal number out on the internet.
I will come and find you and walk you to the booth personally.
yeah, all of these guys will literally walk you to the booth. We're, you know, like I said to my wife, do you feel that the Second Amendment and the NRA is better off without me on it? She said, oh, hell no. Like, they're better with you on it. She's like, our life is better with you off of it.
So your wife just had an incredible suggestion. She said, pick a meeting time and a place. All of us can meet up there and go vote at the same time. So what time and where should they meet you for them to walk, for you to walk them?
We'll go 9 o'clock at the Springfield booth.
Is that so we can all give them the finger at the same time?
So legit, like where do y'all want to do this? You threw it out there.
Block booth at,
10
noon,
You want-
Saturday,
But you want to
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
Let's do it Saturday. though.
No,
let's do both.
Both days.
People work on Friday.
Yeah,
not every. You're here.
We'll do both.
I'm here.
I'm thinking
So-
about
Where-
so we will meet you at the block booth at noon, both Friday and Saturday.
Or we could do something too, like get some pictures and general directions in the signal chat.
Yeah,
Start posting up pictures.
We'll do that too,
Yeah.
but we will have physical people waiting at the block booth at noon to walk you to vote.
Yeah.
If it makes you nervous, uncomfortable, like I get social anxiety, I know it sounds crazy, but when I get nervous, I just talk louder and more, so it works for me. But the anxiety is there. So if you just want other people to go do it, and even if you're not a lifetime member, you can swing by and say hi, and we'll take you to get your lifetime membership.
Look
You
in the
can
block 19 area.
yeah.
If you're not a lifetime member, there's a chance you still could be able to vote. It's just confusing.
5 consecutive years of,
Or 24 hours of lifetime.
Right.
But-
Yeah.
And we can
Well-
post up too when we get there, but the annual meeting is the best spot to get a lifetime permit, or a lifetime membership. Last year we got
We got silence.
$50 in
Yeah.
umbrellas, gift cards, plus a free silencer, plus,
Bomber
Austin's
jacket.
favorite bomber jacket.
Yeah.
Sweet jacket.
Yeah.
Those
So we
drill.
said-
Hell yeah.
That's great.
And it's half off, I think it's 1,500 normally, that gets done to 750. If you're not interested in all the jazz, use Isaac code for $600.
Right.
It'll be a big deal this year, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I
it'll
mean,
be a-
even,
yeah.
even if you can't make it for this year, there's more voting that happens, January or February every year.
Yeah.
February.
So there's going to be more people that we need to vote in.
well, we'll be running again next year as well.
Yep.
And I know Bruce is not sure if he qualifies, so we're gonna walk down in person and make sure that he can verify, because he said he's been a member for the last 15 years.
Well,
Not sure about
I
consecutive.
signed up at 12,
Yeah.
but there may have been a year or two, I say a year or two, but like 3 months lapsed.
And we'll go down there in person, they'll let you
Yeah.
know, one way or the other, and we'll make sure that you can vote if it's possible.
But on the regular ballot, if you can vote, you explain the bullet voting thing.
Yeah. So for now, I'm encouraging tactical response members to do what's called bullet voting. So a ballot will come out in February. It comes out in the February magazine. It's the only reason I encourage our members to please get the magazine, right? Because they get the ballot. So there are 2 reasons I
I
actually.
did not get one this year.
So there's
So I
2
have to
reasons.
vote at the show.
Yeah. So, but when you get your ballot, it'll say right on your ballot, you can vote for up to 28 people And, you know, here is a list of 30, 40, 60, this year it was 60. So go ahead and vote. And what they don't tell you is if you only vote for one person, they get all 28 of your votes. If you vote for 2 people, they each get 14. If you vote for 28 people, they each get 1 vote. So our objective has always been to get 1,000 of our members to bullet vote me. That almost ensures me re-election. Now, what I want to do is, okay, we have tens of thousands of Tactical Response alumni. I want to get 1,000 so I get re-elected. Then when we get the next 1,000, I want to get somebody who is willing to have that same sacrifice of time, commitment, and patience. And yeah, and get them elected, right? I want to get them
today, didn't he?
Yeah, Paul is ready once his membership
Paul
is.
was like,
Can they, can
I'm not a member
they
yet.
get to?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
The shirt's not helping.
So, but no, I want to get more people like us on the board.
So what, go through the criteria to run to be a board member real quick, because
Yeah,
it's another reason why you should buy a life membership as soon as you are not doing it financially irresponsibly.
yeah. So in order to become a board member, you have to be a lifetime member of the NRA for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So you're not allowed to even apply to become on the board until you've been a lifetime member for 10 years. So that's one of the reasons why, again, I want our members to become life members. I want us to be life members so that we can control voting. I want us to be life members so that we're never lapsed when we're counting those 3, 5, 10 million people that are influencing the Second Amendment. So that's kind of my objective there. That's why I do that. That's why we have a special form. If you reach out to me, it's why a lot of these guys join at the annual meeting, because it's at a great discount with a lot of swag. You know, you figure, you know, $50 of Cabela's cards and a free silencer, like, kind of pays for itself.
hey, what'd you get last year, Marcus?
The first time or the second time? So I got a hookup, but yeah, I ended up with a couple gift cards, weapon mounted light, and then a 22 can, and a drippy bomber jacket that I'm bummed I didn't bring.
So, and we're working on it. Like today, these guys all talked about, hey, if we are gonna do swag, this is the swag that appeals to millennials. And like, we don't have to do buck knives for boomers, right?
Yeah.
Like,
To like sign up today and get a free
yeah.
bag, whatever.
Yeah.
NRA big bag.
One of those bags.
Like, there's, like, seriously, work
Yeah,
with,
that
work
is
with the
one.
manufacturer, get guns,
Right.
get a silencer, like this
So-
stuff.
The silencer was a good,
Yeah.
like last year I was like, oh, this is something I actually care about.
I was excited when they were talking about if you are a lifetime member of the NRA, that you could possibly, they were discussing like, would like cheaper ammo, like price be
Yeah.
good? We're like, oh, absolutely.
So if they did, although, like, that's something that you would, like, y'all have done it before, where you buy, like, everybody go in and
But
do a
then
big
multiply
buy.
that by 3 million
And that, but
people.
that's what, if we start doing that, and then we can like
Yeah.
grow it, like, hey, NRA, get in on this.
NRA said that today, we're like, literally,
Come
what if
on.
we bought ammo and when it's hard to find, if you're a lifetime member, you're getting it at this price, and we were all like, would that attract you millennials? And everybody was like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Yes.
They're asking you if it's gonna attract millennials?
They were asking them,
Oh.
I was just present.
Point at Bruce, like,
Scott, like these guys are a little.
Bruce.
I was not the millennial.
like, they're talking
Right.
about millennials.
Gen X lives matter too.
That's right.
Well, I found fascinating was when they found out who actually.
Was millennials.
Was the millennial. Okay,
It was
so here's the most fun point of the day that these guys got to see. I had some other fun stuff, but I'm pointing out, I'm like, okay, guys, you know, and Paul, I'm like, oh, you know, I brought some millennials for, you know, I wanted them to experience the meeting, and I wanted you guys to be able to ask the millennials questions.
And they
They
looked
go,
around.
where are the millennials?
Millennials, yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, you do understand that millennials are people who are aged 30 to 44. And they go, what? I'm like,
And they were
yeah.
like, he's a millennial with the gray hair, and we're like, he is a millennial. And they're like,
Yeah, there's a new generation Alpha.
24-year-old at the
The
table.
kids are.
Right.
Like Gage and M and Gap, they're all Gen Alpha.
So,
Like, we got a whole, it's not Gen Z isn't where it stops anymore. There's another one after that.
so millennials are the current largest population in the United States. So the largest demographic. And when the NRA board members realized, said, guys, yeah, I know this is gonna sound shocking, but 30 to 44-year-olds have some disposable income. And they're like, well, yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, those are millennials. They're like, what? Because they were looking for like 15-year-old kids. I'm like, guys, millennials aren't 15-year-old kids.
Those are, like, those aren't even Gen Z anymore.
No, there was a 24-year-old and who was on the
That was really
committee,
cool.
and he is a Gen Z.
Mhm.
And he was like, oh yeah, no, they're millennials. Like,
Yeah, he was real quick to point that one out.
yeah, he was like, I'm not a millennial. You know? And he's like, I'm more conservative than millennials. And, you know, it was just very interesting.
Who's the second largest group?
Gen Z,
Who's the third largest?
baby boomers.
So Gen X is the smallest group in the
Yeah.
NRA.
Gen X is the smallest group.
The
in the
smallest
United
group in
States.
general.
Yeah.
Population.
Yeah.
We
Like
were
a
really
All
United
drugs.
Here it is.
Crack cocaine.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Fentanyl now.
What happened? No, that's gonna be Gen Z.
We're
Like,
very
they don't be
small
taking out
percentage.
fentanyl.
Guys, my mom texted me and said she's watching and she said you look very handsome.
Aww.
Tell her something.
Just
I know she ain't looking at Mark.
Oh.
Caitlin,
So, do any of you guys have questions, I guess? Is there anything popping up on the live stream?
That's, I was, like, looking for it, and I think we're answering all of them. So, what, I know that you said you've dedicated a lot of time and energy and all of this, like, where are these NRA meetings held?
So, the board meetings,
Mhm.
so there is essentially, let's see, there's a January meeting, a May meeting, a September meeting, and then that's usually the primary three. So the April-May meeting is the annual meeting, that's what we're on right now.
Are you responsible for paying your way to and from those meetings, or does the NRA cover that for you? Like, because we're trying to attract
Yeah.
people to, like,
Right.
go onto the board, so what does that cost? Like, how much does it cost out of pocket to do that? Like, figuring out what's financially feasible,
Right.
if you can do that, and
So-
then time management wise, if you can do that.
Each board meeting is roughly a week of time off.
Okay,
Because there are committee meetings every hour and a half
mm-hmm,
for 4 to 5 straight days.
okay.
And then there is the overall board meeting, which I'm not trying to turn people off, it's very, it's a
If you
legislation.
talking about it turns them off from it, then they didn't need to do this
Right.
anyway.
So we
like-
will go to a board meeting, we will go to the board meeting at 8 AM
Mhm.
on a Monday or a Saturday, depending on which meeting it is. And we will be in that meeting from 8 AM until midnight, 2, 3 in the morning, hashing out issues.
Okay,
There will be usually a 45-minute lunch break, and there will be a 45-minute dinner break. And
do you get pee breaks as necessary? Because that might be another limiting factor, like,
you're a big boy or big girl, and
Okay.
you need to go pee, you step out, you go use the restroom.
but you may miss something when
But you might miss something.
Okay,
So for us, the Second Amendment is a family issue. So my wife's travel is not covered. My wife's food is not covered, but I generally fly my wife out to every meeting. Obviously, I pay for her food. There is a stipend for food, so they do cover my meals, they cover my flight, and they cover like my parking or stuff like that. Do I take that reimbursement? Not usually.
but
Definitely
it's
not.
there if
But it's
you
there.
need it.
Absolutely. So it's there if you need it. I don't take it because I know the financial position of the NRA,
Mhm.
and I don't need to milk them for every dime. I'm doing okay. It's kind of my contribution to the NRA. A couple things that I do that are very, very different. The NRA has fundraisers. Basically, they're the Friends of the NRA event.
Mhm.
So guys, just so you know, Tactor Response puts their money where their mouth is. Tactor Response has, man, this is gonna tear me up. Tactor Response has donated training certificates to different Friends of the NRA events to the tune of about $60,000 of supporting Second Amendment fundraising. And so I go with our local fundraiser. Rich has actually gone with him too. Like, we've piled into my truck and we drive around to Cabela's and Fin Feather Fur, and we go to different gun companies, and we go to different organizations like Tactical Response, and we try to raise gear or money to fundraise for the Second Amendment. Now, I'm unusual in that. The guy who does the fundraising for all of Ohio goes, we have 4 members in Ohio. You're the only one that does this. Yeah, because this is about the Second Amendment, and I take this seriously. If I'm gonna be on the board, I'm not gonna be on the board because I get to be a board member. I'm on the board, I have a responsibility to make sure the Second Amendment is safeguarded.
And you are donating your time while you're there, like you're only reimbursed for travel expenses, so it's not a paid position.
No, it's not a paid position at all.
We're also the first ones that will buy and donate for the causes of the Friends of the NRA. We
Yeah.
spend 15, 20 grand a year for that. I bought 4 sets of lawn chairs at every function that we've had.
Okay, we're talking to people who are in a different tax bracket.
Yeah. So,
Like,
But we, after last year's show, we got a table, Bruce and I were there with a few other folks in West Tennessee to go to that Friends of the NRA dinner.
This blew my mind.
And we were sitting around the table having food, and there were 6 or 8 of us around the table, and the tactical response certificate came up,
95% of the people on the table were alumni.
and it was a bidding war at our table between 2 people. We're like, hey, knock off.
Trying to negotiate.
Rich and I do that too, and Scott, yeah.
I don't negotiate shit, I'm getting.
So,
Outbid me.
But
Now-
what shocked me was, go ahead. It only sold for like $300.
right. Well, so I've set the minimum at ours so that it goes for 400 or better. And once it reaches 400 or better, I literally look daggers at Rich and Scott, and I go, guys, you need a new alumni, let them have the certificate.
And the like times in a row
Hey, but
now,
I
it's
always
like,
try
you
to
can't win.
spin it up
Rich.
a little bit.
You can't win it. I'm like, oh.
But Tactical Response has put their money where their mouth is. They continue to support the NRA. They're making sure that funds go to the NRA to make sure that the Second Amendment is continued to be supported. We go with the different fundraisers to do that, speak at different events. When I go to training, shameless small plug for Don Edwards, a Greenlight Tactical, right? There'll be a Tactical Response right after alumni. One of my favorite instructors, Don Edwards, hosts the Night Ops Summit. Every year he says, Isaac, you've got an hour slot to talk about the NRA, and we do State of the NRA, we do Q&A. My wife was a little shocked at the number of swear words that came out of my mouth, but we got a lot of new lifetime members.
Everybody that hated the NRA came into it, you raised your points, and actually every one of them bought a lifetime member of the NRA.
Yeah.
We do have one question on here for it, from
Yeah.
Mark Curtis. Can the NRA push for a NFA amnesty coinciding with Doge checks?
the Doge checks aren't a sure thing still, are they?
That's the question.
I don't think that's gonna
They did something about $1,100 I saw.
And like you ain't shooting high enough. I don't want NFA amnesty,
Go
like
on.
disband the ATF. Like get rid of all that shit. That's what I want the NRA to
See,
do.
Bruce gives a thumbs up for that, and it would put him out of business.
It really would. I haven't talked about this much.
Sorry, Bruce, I like you, but
I make money on guns, and I would sacrifice the NFA in my career.
Right. Well, no, and don't be wrong, I don't disagree. One of the things that people have to understand in general is the NRA has actually made a lot of headway. In fact, if you guys happen to live in a constitutional carry state, thank the NRA. The NRA.
or permitless carry.
Or permitless
yeah.
carry. The NRA is actually the organization, not FPC, not GOA. They're the organization that has crafted the legislation at every state level with every state to create permitless carry or constitutional carry. Like, let's get that even before we banished the NFA, right? Like we were at 30, soon to be 31 states. Like we're making some serious progress. Guys, you have to triage the Second Amendment. Yes. Look,
All of us.
you know, I've got more guns than a lot of people. I do a lot more shooting than a lot of people. Like, Tactical Response knows me by name because I've got 70 classes under my belt, right? Like,
You're probably one of the few alumni who have taken more classes than I have.
Yeah, I'm a big Second Amendment proponent, but let's understand triage, guys. Like, let's get constitutional carry at 48 states before we try to ban the NFA. Let's get 8 million members.
So I was talking to Joey about it on the way up here. Like the way that I explain my belief system, I go extremist with the beliefs and then make concessions to get to a normal place.
Right.
But I hold true to those extremist beliefs so that I don't ever get too far gone past the point of no return. Like you have to make concessions when you hold beliefs that others view as extreme.
Well, one of the things we talked about today is, we looked at these extreme views, and one of the things that's really hard to get to those views and get them on the table is all the fights that are going on to keep what we have.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to fight those, it takes members and money. And one of the things that we expressed we would really like to see as a benefit to our membership is a little more clarity on those fights that are going on, so that a bill never hits committee, let alone gets passed and we have to fight to repeal it.
Right.
See, Isaac talks a lot about the NRA being a proactive organization, not reactive. So there's no headlines because they're not fighting this bill in Colorado and
Right.
just going in the magazines.
They're keeping
It
it
never
from ever
came up.
getting there.
So there's federal level stuff that's getting fought, and that takes a lot of money because there's a lot of money in lobbyist campaigns that are going against it. And
And when you have billionaires supporting anti-gun organizations, like we don't have a whole lot of billionaires on our side.
No, and I can't, we're making progress with that. I can't tell you the names, but the NRA is finally making some headway in that regard. Like there is no more Wayne LaPierre, right? Like the NRA is making progress. Hell, I was one of the guys who voted against Wayne getting elected. So, I understand the fight. I get it. And I love the fact that all of these guys are here because when they come to the committee meetings, when they go to the annual meeting, they experience a part of it that I'm going through and they go, aha, I get it now. So, yeah.
You also get to talk, so I get to talk to Isaac whenever I'd like to.
Yeah.
But the other thing is at the annual meetings, you get to talk to the other board members.
Mhm.
They're walking around, they're very identifiable. They all got their ribbons on, they're in a jacket, like
Yeah.
sometimes like, you know who they are. And then, hey, if one of them stops and talks to Isaac and, I wanna, also give that guy a piece of my mind. They're there and they listen. So, Jaeger always used to say it, like, forget SHOT Show, you guys don't want that, go to the NRA.
Right, SHOT Show is like
And there's more
this side of
reasons
it,
than just,
NRA is for us.
seeing the new gizmos. Like, if you truly care about your Second Amendment rights, talk to the people that are on the board, figure out ways that you can get involved,
Mhm.
and give them your opinions, because what I heard today is they want to hear what we have to say.
Yeah. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I want people to be a part of the NRA. If you're pro Second Amendment, I would love for you to reach out to the GOA and find out who's your constituent. Who's going to take your voice to the GOA? You're not going to find anyone. If you want to do the same thing with the FPC, you're going to find the same thing.
So explain those acronyms.
Firearm Policy Coalition is FPC. They're a lawsuit organization, for the Second Amendment. GOA is Gun Owners of America. They're another lawsuit organization. They're pro-Second Amendment. They are suing on behalf of the rights that have been taken away.
But
Which
that is a reaction.
Correct.
And
And what do we know
that's-
about the UDL?
Right.
Reaction is slower
Than
than
action.
action.
Mhm.
And so that is literally, and if you want to hold somebody accountable, the NRA has 76 board members that you can go bitch to that you can hold accountable. I don't like this, and you can tell them. There's somebody that you can reach out to. Google's an amazing thing. You can find out all the board members on the bottom of the magazine and go, aha, I'm gonna start Googling where they're at and reach out to them. You can send an email to the NRA, and by bylaws, it has to be sent to every one of us. So all 76 members get every email that is sent to the board members. So if you send it to the NRA and say, I want this to go to the board members, it gets sent to us.
Well, I think it was after the NRA show the year before last where I sat through everything and I was like, holy shit, like, this is why that, like, this is what we need to explain to people. The concessions and the things like that, like, it made so much more sense why things happened the way that they did when you got to see it firsthand. Because you got to see where it started, like what they were aiming for, and then where they ended up.
Right.
And it was soothing as a member of the NRA to be like, okay, so they're not just a bunch of pussies. They actually are trying to do something.
Right.
And I was just in my own little world, like, I wasn't there arguing the points, they were. And I don't get to sit, like Heather said, you don't get to sit there and bitch about it if you don't know what's even going on about it and you're not willing to make changes. And I instantly changed my tune after the first, like, meeting that I sat through.
Now, another big thank you to Tactical Response. And anyone watching, just know my gratitude. So my wife is well trained from Tactical Response, but she's still the most important thing in my life. And we get quite a few death threats as board members. So I know it's shocking, but we're not the biggest fans for anti-gunners. So we get death threats pretty often. So they know where the board meetings are at and where the annual meetings are at, right? So we get lots of anti-gun protesters. Every year.
How many board members you say they don't all carry? You
I
would
know,
think.
I know. And they're not all trained. But every year, these guys are around me. And like last year, there was kind of a hostile situation. So James, if you're watching, thank you. I'm sorry you're not here. The rest of these guys were, thank you. Because as we were leaving the annual meeting and it got a little hostile, they treated me and Heather as the principal. And literally, we got to the board meeting on Monday and they were all complaining about lack of security. And they said, you know what, we can't all afford 9 professional security people. And my wife goes, what 9 professional security people? Because everyone has a Team Demarest polo, right? Like, which I appreciate, Marcus, thank you. So
They're cool.
everyone had a Team Demarest polo that's Tactical Response. They're the only people I trust in my life.
So it looked like you had hired
Look, it gets
a whole
better.
lot of security team.
Surrounding Heather, like moving.
So it gets better than that. So we get to the meeting on Monday and they're like, we can't all afford security. And my wife goes, what security? You know those 9 people that protected you and Isaac? And my wife goes, you mean the people me and my husband train with?
Those are our friends.
And they're like, those are our friends. And they go, well, how much did they cost? My wife's like, beer and pizza? We bought them beer and pizza. And they're like,
Yeah.
Heraclitus, man, you gotta look at the Heraclitus.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's literally thank you guys for valuing our
You
security.
have in-room security and traveling security this year.
So that's right. Rich is nowhere near as good looking as my wife, but I do get in-room security. So
But the little spoon.
little spoon.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. Thank you for being safe and staying dangerous because that really does matter. And they're the only people I trust with my life here at the NRA. So heck, funny little story. The head of security of the NRA, literally when I walk into a meeting, he looks for all the Tactical Response guys because he knows they have guns and medical. And now he comes up to me, he goes, which ones are with you? Because they're the ones that we're going to, like when stuff pops off.
Look for the Team Demarest polo shirt.
Yeah, oh, I'm not kidding, like.
They're the ones with fishing shirts and bell-bottom pants.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so Tactical response is widely respected, but probably the biggest compliment is that is security, and all the security guys absolutely respect tactical response. Our alumni are noticeably different than the rest of the fish and sheep that are out there. And they go, yep, Isaac, we're your people, cool, we're okay. So.
And it's not just happened, like I've heard that mentioned about tactical response and its alumni at so many different places, and it makes you feel so good to, especially me in particular, it makes me feel so good and so proud of all of our students, because I'm not the one that's there doing that stuff. It's other people on behalf of us. Like they just attribute it to us. And like I appreciate you guys holding yourself with such standards that you make me look good.
Most of the time.
So yeah, if you guys, kind of I guess our final ask if you get a chance, and we'll still be here, Saturday and Friday at noon at Glock. If you are in Atlanta, you think you might have the ability to vote for the NRA, please come out, vote for the 76 member, because we would like to get you back on the board this year, not wait till next year. And
But if not, next year, become a lifetime member, and next year we'll
Yeah.
vote for Isaac.
And what's the name of the convention center? Does anybody know?
It
It's
is
the Georgia
the
World Congress.
Georgia World Congress Center.
And for those of you that
Massive
are,
building by the
It's
by
across from the
Mercedes.
Mercedes Stadium.
for those of you on your Delta app right now, if you need a ride back from the airport, let us know. We got a few vehicles here.
So I know where it is now.
Very small.
One of the comments was just like the new Team Demerish shirt should just say, "I'm your Huckleberry."
we can make that happen, yeah.
I
So,
want one.
right,
We got it.
You're too small for them, we got bigger.
right.
You don't have any mediums or smalls.
Extra medium.
I think this is the new team.
Right, yeah, exactly.
We didn't coordinate.
Hey, I
Oh,
got
y'all did?
No.
Honestly, I got the dish
Actually,
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
just so you know, like, I will be irreverent for the rest of the week. I had committee meetings today, so I was expected to be in a sport coat. I drive the NRA crazy because I do not dress like the rest of them. Like, this is how I'm dressed, outside of the convention. They're like, you need to represent better. I'm like, dude, the millennials love me. What else do you need to know?
Right.
So,
Hawaiian shirts?
Yeah.
yeah.
We had what was the shirt on at the hotel this morning? It was the Hawaiian shirt with the MP5s on it.
Yes.
Some dude was like, I love that shirt. Is that an MP5? I love it. The board members here are like, you did not represent. He was like, I'm going to work out. You're not representing us. He goes, do you work out in a suit? No.
Do you work out?
Do you work out?
Do you work out at all? No. And he goes, I'm going to work out to the gym after I sign in. So that's what I'm going to do. And they were all like, you should
Is
be
the
in a
new
suit.
Glock 19s and Hawaiian shirts? I'm in for that.
Right, yeah. Well, it was funny because they were like, why do you work out? And I'm like, I work out. Because they're like, who are you trying to impress? I'm like, nobody. I don't work out to look good. I work out to stay dangerous. And they were like, and literally the perplexed look. I'm like, yes, I am working out to stay dangerous.
And because I like
So,
tacos.
and because I like tacos.
Reed said, how do the rest of them dress? Foreign fishing vests?
Oh, no, they're in sport coats, button up, skinny tie.
Suits.
Suits.
They got their goose hunting vests.
Skinny
on.
ties?
Oh,
Like boomers are wearing skinny ties?
so, it's.
I think
I
they're
did
hip and
see
cool.
Oh.
The grandson's got one, so they're gonna go with it.
That's
It's a
like,
photographer's vest, not a fishing vest.
so is that the like boomer version of all these like chicks that get on Ozempic and then start wearing the crop tops and this, and you're like, we can tell how you lost that.
Right, yeah.
Like, you're trying.
See what happened was.
You're trying. Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, that's, for better or worse, I'm authentic.
Well,
I am who I am.
we're getting questions from your wife.
Oh, shit.
People keep asking, where did they get those kind of shirts at?
Hawaiian shirts.
Retro Rifle.
Retro Rifle, that's right.
But these were exclusive at last year's NRA show, unfortunately.
This year they'll have a new
particular
one.
Yep, this year they'll have a new one. We will hit
And
Retro
I'll get
Rifle.
it.
Commitment.
Yep.
So if y'all come to the show and vote,
Get a new
maybe
Retro
you get
Rifle.
I just want more stuff for girls.
They
Like,
had,
all of the-
Retro Rifle had an
They
entire
did,
girl
yeah.
set.
Okay,
Yeah,
because like all of the stuff, when especially the polos and the button-ups, like those are not designed for women.
no.
I don't get it.
They make a woman's.
I don't know. Did Heather even get a Team Demmer shirt? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
She did. Okay.
I'm almost positive, didn't she?
No, because it's hard. You have to actually get a woman's polo. Is it?
Right.
I think
Oh,
we
they're-
got, I think we got some.
They are cut.
Okay.
Completely different.
I'll get my wife one. And she's like, no, that's not it.
So
No.
the rescue squad, they were having us get our shirts for that, and they ordered mine with everybody else. None of them work for me. None of them.
Yeah.
I look like I'm wearing a dress.
That's right. Here at Retro Rifle, I didn't get to walk away with a shirt. So Austin and Scott got to walk away with a shirt. They're like, no, we don't have your size. We'll send it to you.
You don't have a side dinosaur?
Yeah.
4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, but.
Denver shirts. So
Yeah.
we gave Riches away last year. I gave him my login. He got in the account and ordered one for himself this year. So you can order them in different cuts.
How about 6 this year?
So, but no, I mean, honestly, like I said, I appreciate the support.
I'm here for
This is literally my main constituency, right? Like, this is who I care about, the people who train. This is who I'm representing to the NRA. And these are the issues that I bring to the NRA. The NRA really does operate like a legislature. And what I mean by that is competitive shooters have board members who are competitive shooters, and those are the issues that they bring up. And
Which is fine.
Which is fine.
Yep.
There are lobbyists, and there are lobbyists on the board, and they bring up lobbying issues, and there are people who love to lick the balls of governors and senators and whatever. That's just not my thing. Yep. But there are people who love to do that, and that's why they're on the board. And there are attorneys who love obscure Second Amendment law, and that's why they're on the board. So this is why I'm on the board, right? Is we need a voice. Our mindset needs a voice. People who carry a gun everywhere need a voice. People who are trained beyond, the regular group. One of the things I'm grateful about, the NRA does have a bunch of Second Amendment geeks, right, and attorneys, and they do the legwork, and they go, holy smokes, civilian responses to active shooters are 4 times more successful than a police response to active shooters. And, who are the people that are successful in that response? Trained people like us. And that voice needs to continue to get out. I'm working slowly. Kayla and Joey have both said absolutely. Don Edwards has said absolutely. I'm trying to get board members who are willing to go get training to come get training. And so tactical
I will
response.
do you one better. I will put on an immediate action medical class for the board members. All they have to do is get me to their location and put me up, like free of charge. Just pay for my travel and expenses, so it doesn't cost me anything more than my time, because I'm a broke bitch. So I will, and it would have to be more than one class, because 76 is way too many people to do at once. But I will put on a full immediate action medical class for every single board member if they will give me a location. Right now, like, bring it up to them.
Yep, absolutely. What?
I'm just gonna put it in for the annual meeting that just has to occur.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
I will come back just to help with
I'm
that.
the right
Yeah,
way
I was gonna say.
heretofore and whereas.
Like, even with enough help, 76 is
Yeah.
still, I would wanna break it up
76 will not come.
into 3 separate classes. I can, the largest immediate action medical class I've ever had was like 32 students, and it
I
was,
was there. Yeah.
it was a lot.
Yeah.
25 is like, it's gonna be hectic, but so is an active shooter, so I don't mind the hecticness. I just wanna ensure everybody's safety so that tourniquets aren't getting left on too long and stuff like that, for
No.
training purposes.
Obviously, everyone
But-
here would probably volunteer. I know Heather and I would volunteer to help.
But I will put on,
Let's do for fun. Anybody who has on medical right now, pull it off.
oh, it's,
Let's pull it off.
check it
All
out.
right.
Let's put our money where the mouth is.
I say,
I tell people, if I can only carry one thing, it's a fucking tourniquet.
So,
And then in my backpack, I've got, more stuff,
Scott,
like,
yours, because I carry it for him.
thanks, sir. Mine's sitting upstairs, so that's it off.
So when I take my shit off and leave my kit right there, I still at least have this stuff on me.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then
How about them apples?
the best way to carry
that
that
everybody?
in the world.
Did
The
everybody
best-
here
I think
have
that's-
this?
yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
everyone
here
here
has
has something.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So yeah, the mindset really is completely different with us than anyone else. I literally, like I said, the head of security is now looking to get trauma kits and have his guys start carrying them because,
You know, only knew people that made bags and stuff.
I know.
I put together trauma kits for the fire department in Camden. Like I found, and I made them affordable for them, like specifications, like this is what we want it to do. Do your best, and I put them up a VOC inside of attached to a headrest or throw on as a bag. Like it was a multi-use bag. None of it was the top tier, best of the best stuff. But gear is at the bottom of the list for a reason.
Exactly.
Reed, fuck you, strap on his medical.
So,
I've been
Lindsay,
reading
550.
That's Reed.
Comment, that's Reed,
Yeah, Lindy.
comment of the day. Marcus, strap-ons are not medical.
Well, not with that attitude, they're not.
And who's Red Ford Reviews?
We
Better
don't know.
reviewer, yeah. He's
He's
the one.
asking, he doesn't know what's going on, but if Red Ford, if you're near Atlanta, come on by.
Yeah.
Or go watch the first 5 minutes of this live.
I've had 3 people text me and said, hey, they're down to come and volunteer their time. If you're gonna teach a class at the NRA, like for IAM, they're down to volunteer their time.
Like for the board members, I will do it free of charge.
Please.
Like just pay for my expenses.
Yeah, no, I will absolutely bring that up. I'm actually texting Rich because our debrief after membership had some phenomenal ideas. One of the best things about learning,
Isaac's secretary.
yeah, one of the best things about learning
I thought you
is
were
literally
supposed to be
the
pretty to
debrief.
be a secretary.
That is not true. That is not the case with me.
No, I thought you
Heather's
said-
like, no, you're not allowed to have a pretty secretary. Rich
Right,
works.
yeah, Rich works. He's still a little spoon, it's all good, so. No,
But
this
because you were
is,
saying the after the thing.
Well, yeah,
Sorry,
I
I ruined
think-
it with a joke.
well, no, like, whether it was immediate action medical, like my wife took immediate action medical, and as a nurse practitioner,
Huh?
because of the debrief that Rich and I gave her on the class.
Yeah,
that
you and
day.
I talked about that.
So, you know, we debriefed membership, and we got some really good ideas that I'm gonna be bringing back to the membership. I don't have all the perfect, great ideas. You guys help with that, and so your feedback matters. Like, damn near everyone on alumni knows how to get a hold of me.
Mhm.
If I haven't taken a class with you, that's because you haven't trained in the last 10 years.
Right.
Because I'm damn near always there, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've trained with a lot of people.
And if you haven't taken a class with you, like you know somebody who has taken a class
Yeah.
with you.
So,
Yeah.
but no, I love you guys. Like, I have taken classes literally with everyone here. These are the people that I trust my life with. Tactical Response Alumni is the best tribe I could ever ask for. And like I said, the reason why I'm doing this is because of you guys. My life would be easier to not be on the board. But it
Oh,
also
you've
means-
said that to me 100 times.
But,
You do a lot of things like that though.
so,
The sacrifices you made is incredible.
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, but look at the training, like, just in this classroom alone, attack and response, classes that we've taken, attack and response, I would guess with just this table, it's 300 to 400. I know I'm in the 60s, 70s. Isaac's there. I've taken classes with almost everybody except Bruce. I'm going,
I've taken classes.
We've trained.
yeah.
Yeah, you trained me.
Well, DM up.
I'm not the greatest at memory, it's not my strong point.
Yeah.
We do DMR.
I-
There you go.
Oh, was he not in
There was
that
one
final?
year I took fighting pistol every time we offered it in Camden, just for
That's a-
fun. That was before I knew how much ammo cost.
Was dad paying for the ammo?
We should gotta start paying for it.
That's the dad, I'm like,
Yeah.
son, you're gonna take it so many times.
Look, he's even paying for it post-it. He's like, chalk that up. Like,
So I've taken that class 5 times, and I've got one more to go with my daughter.
I've had that class, fighting pistol, 40 plus times.
Yeah.
And
Well-
still making people cry every single time.
So this was kind of
fun
my.
weekend.
I still learn stuff.
It's a fun weekend. Why
Yes,
why
me
don't
too.
we?
Like, I still learn stuff.
So at membership, one of the pieces of leverage I had was talking to the other board members, and I said, look, I've got a half a dozen millennials here that all have a life membership that they paid for out of their pocket. Daddy didn't buy it for them. That's how much they care about the Second Amendment. That actually gave people pause. A lot of the board members know people whose daddies bought them a life membership, right? Oh, I'm 30 years old, I have a life membership.
I mean,
That's 'cause
my daddy bought mine.
Which there's nothing wrong with. But that all changes the level of commitment to an
It does.
extent, right? It's like when your parents buy you a car and you're hitting curbs left and right,
Yeah.
it's because you didn't buy the car.
Oh no, I still hit them in the car I drive too.
But you're not checking the oil. You don't care
Yeah.
about it the same.
No.
These guys all bought their own life memberships.
Mhm.
They all said, you know what, I care about what's gonna happen in the NRA. I'm gonna buy my own. I'm gonna, you know, that was leverage with them. I said, yeah, their dads didn't buy the memberships. They all bought their own. They're like, oh, like,
Mhm.
you know, that's why I want you guys to be involved, is we do have leverage. We do have influence. I want your voice. Please keep being active.
But people to train is not the voice, there's not a voice inside the NRA. right
But
now.
let's be realistic, it's because people who train don't join the NRA.
Yeah.
They look at it as an organization that only supports hunting rights. For us to have a voice within the NRA, you have to have members.
Yeah.
And that's where we can make the difference as like tactical responsible. We have over 100,000 alumni.
100,000.
Like, we have had over 100,000 students since 1996 when we first opened up.
Hey, good news.
Let's hear it.
Today, after talking about training, the NRA is going to make it easier and more profitable for NRA, for tactical response to be able to sign up NRA members.
Like an affiliate.
Yeah, so as a recruiter, the tactical response has been encouraging people to become NRA members. Paul
Forever.
was the test, like, literally when Paul talked about that and then Scott talked about that, they were like, oh crap, there are other people out there talking about the NRA. Other trainers who aren't NRA trainers. I said, guys, because they always say, well, you know, this trainer, you know, signed up so many members. And I said, yeah, the training I'm taking isn't from NRA instructors. I said, they're NRA certified,
Yeah.
but they're not NRA instructors because the NRA doesn't teach you how to do room clearing under night vision. They don't teach you how to do low light room
So,
clearing.
but, like, I want to make a point about that, because I went and took the NRA instructor class with Tiff and Ock in Nashville at Citizen Safety Academy. I have had over 10,000 hours of professional firearms instruction, and that was one of my favorite classes that I've ever had. That being said, I understood the context of the class. That class had rules that we don't have at Tactical Response,
Right.
okay? But they are not teaching people, like, I don't go to the NRA to learn how to defend my life with a gun.
Right.
I know what I signed up for, and they delivered it in a way, I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite classes I've ever taken, was the NRA class with Tiff and Ock.
But that was my point to them. When I talk to people about the importance of the NRA, they teach gun owners how to be responsible
Right.
and safe, right? They're not teaching good people to kill bad
Nope.
people. And which is fine,
That's your niche, like, please don't, I do that.
but the board members know that the training I'm going to is teaching good people to kill bad people.
Yeah,
That's at a whole different level. What they didn't realize is those instructors also support the NRA. They're now going to make signing up people for the NRA easier
What was the
for you
quote that
guys.
you used in the board meeting today? If you don't join the NRA,
You're wrong is something.
Yes.
It was gonna be a Tim Morris,
Yes.
I knew it was coming next, but.
But we were in mixed company, and so I did a good job of being appropriate.
You did.
I communicated to you guys exactly what I meant. So Tim Morris, if you're actually watching this at all.
He's in bed.
Okay,
It's-
that's true, yeah, that's kind of fine. But yeah, you got some credit tonight. So Tim Morris, shout out. Even your Tim Morrisisms got used at the NRA. And so,
What was the quote?
I'm not gonna say it.
Is it Tim's quote? I'll say it. It's Tim's quote.
I'll say it.
Hey, listen,
If you're not a member of the NRA, you're as wrong as
dick
dick cancer.
Yep.
Because that wasn't that was like him and James both said that for as long as I can
I think it's
remember.
written on a bunk bed.
It is, no,
We're not my bunk bed.
it is in like the instructor outline, like the part that the students don't see that we go off of. It is quoted, say this. If you are not a member of the NRA, you are as wrong as dick cancer. Like that's part of the closing statements we require our instructors to make.
And I will say, there's one thing I was
They didn't
like, listen,
complete the class,
the
they didn't
people
say
that, one of the things that we talked
For
about,
fighting
like,
pistol.
if you, the instructor, they may have the NRA certification, but they're not getting paid by the NRA to say this.
No.
But all the instructors we train with say, listen, you need to be a part of the NRA so you have a voice.
Yes.
What's the rule with every single instructor attacker response?
Wait, which one?
They must be a lifetime member?
Oh, yeah, that you have to be a lifetime member of the
Okay,
NRA.
we got to go together.
I was like, which one?
Should've been more specific, we can't talk about it.
Right.
Should've been more specific.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a requirement of all of our instructors. You have to be a lifetime member of the NRA.
Yeah.
And
And
how much does attacker response get paid for doing that?
Nothing.
Well,
In fact, not
just
only
believe
do
it.
we not get paid, we have to deal with all of the assholes who shit talk saying that the NRA is blah, 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 and we're like, pause.
Well, but to that point, because I agree, the last, couple of years have been getting better, but the decade before that, like, yeah, man, that literally were pissing your money away. And
What,
and that's
what did you do about it though?
started coming to the meetings, right?
okay.
And
So-
that's when
and-
change started happening.
But part of what anybody watching this live stream could take from it is Isaac wanted to make a change. He got on the board. I complained, not knowing a whole lot. I was already a life member, had been for years. It wasn't until Isaac joined that I got to understand how things worked, understand the processes in which you can make change, understand that, okay, right now I'm at 8 years. In 2 more years, I could run for board. I need to start planning that out to figure out what that could look like, right? And then, like today, talking to people last year, like, you can affect change. It's not that much money. $600, $750 at the show, $1,500 regularly. They're talking about an easy pay option for installments. Like, man, like, cool stuff. You can do that and you can make the change. Like, don't bitch about your president if you don't vote. Don't bitch about, the NRA if you're not taking part in telling people what you want changed. A lot of times we choose to complain about things and take the easy route of just, hey, that sucks. Hey, that person's terrible. Hey, whatever. You got to do the work.
Right.
Like we don't have these rights. We haven't kept our Second Amendment rights, our First Amendment rights, anything that we have in this country. We haven't kept them sitting down and having an easy life. We have to fight for it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
these board members are more open to listening than I think most people realize.
the head of security today, he said, you know what, doing the right thing isn't easy. And because I said, you know what, man, I don't even know if I want to go for the 76. Like, I wouldn't mind a break. He's like, Isaac, doing the right thing isn't easy. I was like, damn it. All right, let's muster our guys. Let's get me elected. But that being said, you're right. The NRA did a pretty shitty job at a lot of things for a long time. The point
Who
that
were their members at that time though, is my
Right.
point. Like,
Well-
we complained and said, fuck the NRA, like, and I say we as a generalized,
Yeah.
generalized statement.
active gun owners.
But it was not our people that were members at the time.
Well, and here's my thing.
Hey, Garrett.
Our country's been around for
Garrett's in the
250
chat.
years.
What's
Have
up,
we
Garrett?
had any bad presidents over that 250-year period?
One or two.
A lot of that.
Yeah. So should we just say, you know what? we had some really bad presidents, we should just scrap the United States, do it over.
No.
NRA's been around 150 years, protecting the Second Amendment, encouraging training, doing these things. We've had some shitty leadership. Should we just go, you know what? Let's scrap the most diverse, largest Second Amendment organization of 150 years because we've had some shitty years.
Take Heather's advice.
You can't
If you
afford
want to, like, if you want to complain about it, then do something and try to fix it.
And
Speaking of
there's,
Heather, she just said, "Run, Paul, run."
You won't
No, come join me, I need somebody, Paul, like.
Hey, I haven't been a member of
she meant run for board, Paul, run.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
No, she meant run out that door. Yeah.
No, that's about the
Neil said you should. Reed said, "Mama needs new shoes."
no shit. So, shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. Too many jokes for
My bad.
I'm sorry, I use humor for everything.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, so one thing, in upturn in the past 4 years, if you look at board members who have been elected and then maybe they get reelected again or said, hey, I put my 2 years in and like that's all I can afford out of my life, whatever. There have been some professional firearms instructors on the board that you may recognize their names. And there's been one of them that made quite profound impacts at the annual meeting last year, and there's more people in the training industry getting involved.
If you are speaking about them in a positive manner, please say their names.
Pincus.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he, I mean, you know, hey, there's good things and bad things about everybody, but man, I gained a lot of respect for Rob last year. A lot.
well, you and me both, and actually, I'll tell you a little story. When I first went onto the board, all the advice I got from people was, hey, this is how you help us burn it down. And I wish I was joking, but they're like, you know what, this is how you go in, this is how you break it, like, we need to, take over and
We need to
rebuild.
fix this right now in 1 year.
Yeah, and I go, guys, like, I'm pretty good at strategic planning, like, I don't think we're gonna be able to fix the NRA in 1 year. Like I said, out of curiosity, how successful have you been in that endeavor? Because you guys have all been on the board. All of you that are giving me this advice.
Oh, we haven't done that. We want you to do that.
Well, they all said, well, we're not on the board anymore because we all got kicked off because we didn't get it changed in 1 year. I said, I appreciate the advice. I'm probably not gonna take your advice, but I'm gonna try my way.
You're over 7. We actually want to change it, so we looked at it the long haul going, this is not a 1 year endeavor. This is a 5 year, 7 year endeavor. We can't change it in 1 year. We knew that going into it, and we were like.
Question, if you made out a 5 to 7 year plan, does it have to be you in particular? Or is that a plan that, let's say Paul runs in 2 years, that you could pass off to him and him pick up where you left off?
I'll gladly do that. And yes, I have crafted it.
In a way that you can pass it on?
Yeah, we know exactly what it is.
I figured that much, but for them, like, I wanted
So
them to
here's the
know
thing,
as well.
I had to be able to communicate that same plan, not just to Rich, and not just to Paul, and not just to Scott. I had to be able to communicate that plan to Frank Tate and Rob Pincus and those other guys to get them to understand why I was doing what I was doing. Rob Pincus last year, when all that fun stuff went down, came up to me ahead of time. Thank you for keeping us aware of what the NRA was doing so that we could make adjustments to how we were gonna help you fix it. And then afterwards came up to us and said, thank you for sticking with your plan. We really appreciate it. Because I told Rob, I'm like, look, I can't even friend you on Facebook, Rob. They hate you so much that if I friend you on Facebook, I'm gonna be blackballed from all the alliances I'm trying to get put through. I said, after we make these changes, absolutely we'll friend you. And Rob and I ashamedly rode, roller chairs around the Best Western drunk after a long night.
We were not drunk, we were sober.
Okay, we're totally sober.
I've trained with Rob,
Yeah.
but I like Rob.
Racing, chairs.
Todd Edwards, yeah, we didn't have.
But that being said, I absolutely, Rob understood what I was doing. He and I have absolutely, cemented that friendship.
Mhm.
He gets what I was doing, he supports it, and he came back with a lot of support.
And outside of all that, if you just like, he put his time and money on the line to run for board as a firearms instructor to be one of us and further us down. So,
But
No, like anytime that we can lift somebody up, if we are giving positive accolades, please say their name. If it's a negative, like, nope, we don't, that's not what we do here. But if we can like lift somebody up, if like recognition goes a long way.
well, you know, big props to Tactical Response. Big props to Green Line Tactical. They've been a huge support.
Big props to Roger Pincus for being on the board.
Yeah.
Like that's, you just talked about, like, it's not the easy route, so.
Yeah,
Like-
it's not fun, right? To be the one that wants to make changes and have a vision and figure out where things need to go, and to try to convince 75 other people, or at least 50 other people
Mhm.
to vote with you. It's not fun, so.
So Austin, they said you gotta tell us you're joining the NRA, wait, I think that was it.
He's currently in the
Awesome.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Austin also took the NRA instructor course, and I think that's what Sam's asking about.
Okay, I could, like, I was trying to scroll through
So
it.
you took it in Nashville, right? I think
Yeah,
he
if
took
you-
it similar time that you did.
no, it was a little after.
If you guys are looking for an NRA instructor course, like Ogden Tip with Citizen Safety Academy, they're both alumni, like amazing people. And if you know what you're going to learn and you have the correct expectations, it will far exceed them.
Which is what? Like what?
So you have to know that you are going into, like, you are learning to teach the general public about how to safely and responsibly handle a firearm. We are not looking at it in the context of violent encounters. We're looking at it in the context of gun ownership.
Okay.
So if you go in with the understanding, this is for gun ownership, this is for, like, because the NRA's, the way that they present the information,
Mhm.
it can be presented to Gatlin
Okay.
and like Isaac. And it's the same information because you are just making responsible gun owners.
So it's nothing to do with teaching good guys to kill bad guys.
Nope.
It's like, hey, I have a gun. How do I not hurt somebody?
It is a skills class.
Okay.
And that's actually been rewarding and challenging and frustrating at the board level all at the same time. The guys who are really big on training and instruction go, well, you're not taking our training. Guys, I'm not. I know, but it's because I've done this other training and it kind of far exceeds what you're teaching. Like, I don't need to go back to learn to walk because I'm running.
I got that question today, said, so how many of the NRA courses have you taken? And I said, well, maybe 100 safety, you know, and he said, well, what do you think these other training companies have to offer? Why would they not be incorporated in the NRA curriculum? I was
Their
like,
goals
well,
are different.
a lot of these guys are ex-military, ex-police that we're taking this training from, and, you know, if I want to know how to protect my home, my block, my country, that's who I'm gonna look to.
Right.
And that's my goal. I'm not shooting ski, I'm not, you know, square ranging it, like, we're out here for a reason. And the people that I think can best convey that knowledge are the ones I'm gonna go train with. And I don't really think it's relevant for the NRA to be putting on tactical style classes, if that's what you wanna call it.
No. And that's
Because there's already people that do that.
right. I don't want to move the goalposts.
Yeah.
Like, the NRA needs to continue to focus on responsible gun owners. Because, like, let's be realistic. If the NRA was anything like Tactical Response, they would not be getting the same headway on a national level that somebody akin to what we do would. Like, I offered to teach immediate action medical to all of the teachers, all of the employees, not just the teachers. Environmental services, lunch, people like if you are a Benton County school employee, like I will come and put on a class, and I call the superintendent, like I will put on an immediate action medical class. I will leave the gun stuff out of it and just focus on fixing it. And I will do it for free. Just tell me when to show up. And it's in Camden. They didn't have to pay a single penny for any of it.
Already there.
And he said, no, thank you. That will just scare the teachers too much.
Well, so
They're not gonna make the same move. So the NRA's goal needs to stay where it's at.
So
I'll
literally,
fix that.
Marcus and Paul and I, and Austin, we were on a chat the other day, and Marcus was complaining about something. I said, Marcus, you're complaining about the 90%. I said, we represent the ones and nines, right? You're complaining about the 90%, like, nothing you can do about that. And, you know, Paul was like, oh crap, you're right. Like, all of these complaints I have are about the 90%. Like, when you're one of the ones and nines, it makes it kind of hard, like life sucks, right?
Do you want to know my litmus test on the ones, because people think the Heraclius quote, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I would like just kind of point it out. People think that like, oh, the tactical response alumni, they are the ones and nines. No, we even have that within the tactical response alumni. Do you want to know how I determine if you're a 1 or a 9?
How?
Have you had medical? Like every one of you here pulled out medical equipment, like all of us did.
Right.
Like
What
if you have
percentage
not,
Of alumni have taken that?
5%.
5%?
Okay.
It might have gone up, like, but marginally.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy about the YouTube stuff that we're doing next week, and he said like it completely blew his mind when I told him we've had over 100,000 students through tactical response. 80% of those, so over 80,000 of those are Fighting Pistol alumni. Less than 5,000 of those are immediate action medical alumni. Because next year will be 30 years for tactical response being in business.
Right.
In almost 30 years, we have had between 70 and 80 people call us and say, Fighting Pistol saved my life. Those people were in actual gunfights. Okay? The actual gunfights. So please don't hear that you don't need Fighting Pistol. The mindset portion of that class is where real lives are saved, and you win 100% of the fights you don't get into. So don't hear that. We get that many calls every year with immediate action medical.
Yeah.
So it took 5% of our student base 1 year to make the same number of calls and that translates, when I say number of calls, the number of lives saved in 1 year, that it has taken 80,000 of our students to get to in 30 years.
Well, how many people around this table have used the immediate action medical skills in real life to either reduce the severity or save somebody's life?
Twice.
Austin, you've had a couple recent.
I've had like 4.
Yeah.
I had one
And
a few months
that's,
ago.
now this sounds stupid, but that's actually why we need the NRA, right?
Mhm.
We need someone who's gonna teach the other 90%.
Right.
Like-
Right, and that was
Or
my
open
point
door.
to
But
it.
if part of the,
Yeah.
if part of the basic pistol ownership for NRA was applying a tourniquet,
Yeah, dumb question.
dang, man.
Does the NRA have any medical training?
Do they do any?
I don't know, Bruce, I've never taken an NRA training.
I love through their
Austin
list
had
of
more
stuff
NRA.
that Option TIF we're offering, because when you become an NRA instructor, it gives you a list of the classes that you're certified to teach as long as you take it from them first. There was nothing medical on there that I saw. I would like to meet some of the board members, make that offer myself.
I will introduce you to the most pinnacle one tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Because
Because if we can get
so
tourniquets
Todd,
as
who you
part of
guys
that.
saw, he's one of the heads of training. He understands how I'm a little different than the training that we're
Which one?
taking. He was the other bald guy, back corner, Todd Ellis. great guy, phenomenal, and he's out of Pennsylvania. He'll be the one that we should talk to about medical.
Now, like, realistically speaking, the opinion of the superintendent of Benton County is not uncommon.
Yeah.
And what we are going to have to do, and I would like for all of you guys here to help me find the balance in like how much can we teach them without scaring them off.
Well, I'll give you a fun example. Part of why I get to hit my head against the wall. So I go to all the committee meetings, right? One of the committee meetings is the safety committee meeting. It is the committee meeting that revolves around the safety of the board members. Kind of crazy. I said, hey guys, I think we need to have some trauma medical available because I'm tired of using mine to save your lives.
C-Locks ain't cheap.
Because I can't even ask you to pay me for it or then you can sue me.
Right. So I'm getting a little tired of using my gloves, my C-Locks, like, you know, my compression bandages. Like, this is getting old. Can we just get some of your own? And you would even need this stuff. And I'm just like, now I'm talking to 3 past police officers, retired, probably in 1873. And they're like, well, we never even carried that stuff, so why would you even need to have it? I'm like, well, I don't know, because I've saved 3 of your lives in the last 3 years.
The car
Maybe.
seats, like, you made it to where you're at with no car seat. Okay, but how many kids didn't?
Right.
Like,
But by the looks of that boardroom, there should be an AED in there too.
Right.
Oh,
they don't have one of those either?
No.
Okay, trauma
Trying to get
medicine
an AED.
is something that everybody should know, but so is CPR.
Yeah.
Oh,
You get an AED with
wait,
a
wait.
spare case for $1,200.
But
Part of my-
are cheap, AEDs are not.
Part of
Yeah,
my
no,
plan
it's not that
I didn't
expensive.
say AEDs, I said learn CPR,
Right.
but organizations should absolutely
Right.
have one
Kayla,
present.
part of my plan to get Paul on the board is not using CPR. Okay, so let's just nip that in the bud, damn it. So, I don't know, I don't have my CPR certification anymore, let my card lapse. Buddy's gonna have to die, so,
That was a joke, folks.
that's right. Paul, there's another board member.
2 more years, right? No, but the 10-year thing, you have to be a life member for 10 years before you can get elected. So we gotta think long horizon. Correct.
Which if you became a life member tomorrow, it may take you 10 years to plan out how you're gonna do that.
Right.
Number one, tell your wife.
Heather said, who is carrying a CPR mask? I have a keychain, it's not on these keys though.
I do all non-contact.
Check it out. My thing is like, I will do compressions only CPR. And I have, like, there have been people that I have done CPR on where I had already seen their chart and I was like, ain't no fucking way my mouth is going anywhere near them. And I did compressions only until the other nurses showed up with an ambu bag.
Yep, and there's,
Yeah, the ambu bag is, I can't, I'm trying to think.
Dude, you cannot buy those.
Yeah, the BBM.
I have tried to
and
buy
the
ambu
ambu.
bags.
Why not?
Yeah, the bag
Yeah,
valve
the
mask,
squeeze-
and then
the
the
squeezy
ambu
one,
bag,
yeah.
but ambu stands for something too, I think.
You can't buy an ambu bag, just so you know.
Is it like a
Oh,
prescription?
But the reason why I don't carry a CPR mask is they gave
I may
them
be
to
able
us
to hook
at
you up,
work.
so,
Okay.
And the little fabric pouch that goes on your keychain, or
Mhm.
whatever. We started taking those out for CPR training, and when we take the class, we take it out, put it on the dummy, we found a bunch of holes in them.
Now,
So-
I do CPR.
So now, like,
on
I'm
all
sitting
of
here
them except
going,
Munch.
that doesn't work.
If you do Munch's call sign, that would be why. So.
That's not for the internet.
No, not this internet.
so
OnlyFans.com.
my like mentality behind it, is, CPR typically leads to vomiting if the person comes back to life.
Yeah.
Even if I have a pocket mask, if I don't have a full, like, setup bag valve mask and the ambu, they ain't getting breath from me. Like, unless I'm willing to catch something for that person.
I forget the amount of time, but the time quoted to me in my, the one class that convinced me that non-contact was the best, compression only was the best, it was quite a good duration of time that if you just keep the blood circulating,
Mm-hmm.
you can keep the brain active. I'm gonna say 20 minutes, I very well could be wrong, could be 10, whatever.
So the way that all of that works is that when you breathe in oxygen, your red blood cells are your oxygen delivery vehicles. So they carry oxygen cells throughout your organs. Your blood pressure has enough pressure behind your bloodstream that it forces the blood through your organs and it drops off oxygen molecules. When it gets back to your heart and your lungs, like back through everything to get pumped back through, there is still oxygen left in them.
Well, it's 80%.
Like you have not used everything, so you can cycle through that
And when you're not
numerous
moving, you're
times.
using less.
I was
and
69% on the second.
if you're just trying to keep the brain active, you got quite a bit of oxygen there. And to me, I feel as though it's a responsible take for me, both in my well-being and in trying to help others, that compressions only gives as good of a shot as CPR can, to where I'm not putting myself at risk if I don't have the proper equipment, which would be a
Now,
bag in my.
that being said, if my children required CPR,
Sure.
I'm absolutely doing breaths for them because the quality of the oxygen being delivered is murking up every like trip around through your bloodstream. So like compressions only CPR is absolutely something that I could live with on a stranger, even if they didn't make it. I know because I have. Like I live with that. I did not offer breath at all. They did not pull through. I'm okay with that.
You still do more than the average person.
Right, like I did. I know that the compressions were doing their job. They do not prepare you for that. So like,
I mean, I'm 1 for 1 on tourniquets, 0 for 2 on CPR, and like, that falls within the range of
Big Dick Energy
expectations.
texted
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what the success ratio is on CPR, but it is very, very low.
So I actually know the statistics because I did get certified to teach CPR, and then was just like, hey, that takes a lot of time and energy, and I don't care about certifications. I should do that again, but it is 95% of the time people die. So CPR is only 5% of, oh, you touched it and I was like, are we paused? CPR is only 5% effective.
So we focus on this so much and it's only 5%.
CPR is used, I think approximately 2.2 million times a year. 5% of 2.2 million is a significant number.
Lives, yeah.
And the most common places for CPR to be effective are in drowning victims, like kids drowning in the pool. And that is where a good portion of that effectiveness comes from.
Well, much like
110,000.
People live because of CPR.
5% of 2.2.
Yeah,
So if you look at like, say we want more people to have medical training, so that if there is a traumatic event, we have more people, a higher percentage of the population that would be equipped to act.
right.
That's also a numbers game with CPR, because a lot of times CPR fails is because you're not there in time.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's been down for 10 minutes already,
Yep.
and nobody acted quick enough, because nobody was trained, nobody was brave enough, whatever it might be. And so we want to look at how can we save lives. Get yourself trained in CPR, be ready,
Mm-hmm.
and then get yourself trained in trauma care.
So, for advanced immediate action medical, we actually talk about CPR in that class. And it's not for, we don't talk about it because you're expected to run into it on the street, like you might. But when first responders show up to your emergencies, they go hard and they may need CPR. Jerry Nuss was talking about when he was a cop at the college in Illinois, Southern Illinois University, I think.
Salukis, yep.
Yeah. There was a fire alarm set off in a building, in a dorm, that was 17 floors.
Mm.
All of the disabled students were on floor 17.
Jeez.
They were having to run up because the elevator stopped alarms go off, and they were having to run up 17 flights of stairs for each person they had to go rescue. One of our other instructors, that like an OG instructor, was a police officer and passed away during their annual fitness thing from a heart attack doing the run. Like, that's why it is, even if you don't want to save Granny on the street, like, it's still relevant to violent encounters. Because when your adrenaline gets pumping and you're doing way more running than you've ever done before, especially than you've done in the last like 10 years, it will cause issues.
Well, I mean, we see it in our alumni circles, I see it in my personal circles. You know, I just recently turned 40, like, shit's getting real.
Oh.
Yep.
People I know are starting to have health issues.
Yeah,
right? And,
like, I don't want my woman to recognize the signs of a stroke age.
right? Like, trying to smile sometimes, it's not creepy.
Yeah.
You just pointed me.
But yeah, so we do the advanced in that class. Like, you had the,
Garrett was just saying he wants to come take he hasn't had the new version of Advanced.
I know, that's
Yeah.
what
woo, baby, it is my favorite class.
Right.
What was doing
And
it
I wanna
then?
take it because,
I
hold on,
didn't
I haven't trained with Garrett in a little while, so
I didn't
Garrett
take
always,
advanced.
like,
No.
You
I'm
haven't
missing.
taken advanced
No,
yet?
no.
The advanced
We-
level
um,
is too.
Well, I took half of the first day of it when my car broke down and James said, hey, just go sit your ass in the class
Okay.
and learn.
Get together, get some dates, and we'll put it on.
Okay.
So the advanced immediate action medical class, like, it is my absolute favorite class. But it is the hardest class we have to sell.
Oh, you know what?
You said 5% take medical.
Right,
What's the percentage of advanced
we've had
medical?
under 100 students, but we don't offer that class near as
Sure,
frequently.
sure.
And we don't offer immediate action medical as fighting pistol.
We will all take it, we will coordinate something, because
Mm-hmm.
Bruce, we haven't trained together.
You're coming, Jim. Yeah.
And, but I did think of something fun why people should come.
Okay?
So,
Well,
Part
real
of it-
quick, let me tell them what it is, and then
Okay.
you tell the fun part. So I completely redid the curriculum. Shout out to Sam Kindred and Bev Kindred and Alex Lewis for watching my kids while I sat at the kitchen table for 2 weeks straight, like,
The Easter Tucky crew.
yeah, the Easter Cookie crew, like, they took care of my children so that I could make that outline happen. And, like, I did nothing else except work on that curriculum for a whole week. And I pulled my favorite parts of, like, immediate action medical and the fight and put them into a class.
Oh, yeah.
So you have advanced immediate action medical. So we pick up where immediate action medical leaves off, where you've got multiple people. And then there are 4 scenarios in that class. So you do the stuff that you just learned under fire.
In the
And
shoothouse.
I told, like,
Hell yeah.
you can ask Marcus, I give you exactly what's gonna happen. Like, when you go in there, you're gonna be in one part of the house, your kids are gonna be in another, and there's gonna be a home invasion.
There's no surprise gotchas.
Like,
She's like, you could talk about the scenarios. There's no like secrets here.
because you're already stressed out enough. I don't have to surprise you.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I could script it for the bad guys, and you would still lose your shit if I showed you the script first.
You
Like,
still learn the
you would-
lesson and get the point.
Yeah, because
already
you're-
knowing how it's gonna go.
You're doing it for the first time with, like, pain as a real consequence. Because if you don't do what you're supposed to, you get shot. So we have a home invasion where there are children in the home. We have, the final scenario is an active shooter. And I told Andrew Smerset, I was like, if I'm ever anywhere where there's an active shooter, like, I'm gonna pretend like I'm somebody else and just let you handle it. Like, because we had the very last scenario for that class that Andrew was in. What had happened with the other students was, like, you treat the people who were shot before you got to them. So, and they'll have an injury, like, and like the shooter will be like left leg or whatever. Like, you treat the people as you go. As soon as Andrew heard the first shot ring out, because we had him shoot beside the patients and then tell them the injury. As soon as he heard the first shot, it was like he had subsonic hearing and just knew where they were. And the person only got 1 or 2 shots off, and I'm like,
Before we smoked them.
so before you got here, this is what happened. So like he solid fucking dude to have around for something like that. But that class is the hardest class we have to sell.
No.
So tell them why they should show up for fun.
All right, so you guys should show up here for fun to the NRA annual meeting. Why most of us are here is literally the 4th thing, right? You go to tactical response for mindset, tactics, skill, right? That's what you're going for. And try to break your gear, which
Yeah.
I've gotten really good at breaking. Hell, Paul Markle last month goes, dude, I'm so sorry you broke your optic. I'm like, now I know how to break it, right?
Right.
I'm fine, man. He was like, you don't care? No, I don't care. I figured out how to break it. No, I'm loaded. Thanks, Paul. So, why you should come to the NRA annual meeting is not only do you get to hang out with your homies, right? Like, this is a really fun reunion. But, dude, there's 14 acres of kick-ass gear. We literally spend 2 days going up and down, as literally as Austin summarized it. Why do I want to go up and down all the aisles of shit I can't buy? But, you know, the rest of us are going, oh, dude, this is so cool. And Austin's like, can I take out a load? But
I get the goodie bags. There's some goodie bags and patches and
Well,
stickers.
I told
Yeah, a
you,
lot of
like,
practice.
when we were talking about the plan for being here,
Thanks.
like, yeah, Joey is gonna look for gear and stuff. I'm on a people hunt. I'm not on a gear
Yeah.
hunt. I don't come to any of these shows, not SHOT Show, none of them, for the gear. Is there some stuff that will catch my eye? Yeah, but they gotta work for that. Like, you gotta work for me to look
well,
at you.
Hey, first off, shiny.
right. Like, there's some fun stuff. Like, I remember 2nd year, we were going up and down. They had an entire Toyota 4Runner decked out in armor plating, like all concealed carry armor plating to armor plate the car. I'm like, oh, I want that. You know, but like, there's all kinds of fun stuff. Like, you'll get to try out thermal. You get to try out night vision. TNBC is here. You'll get to see all the cool guns. You get to see I bought my Ma Deuce here at the NRA show.
Last
So-
year, before.
Year, 2
Years
years
ago.
before,
Yeah.
2 years ago. Last year was the night vision. TNBC was,
We all got our core belts here.
we got our core belts, like,
Like,
it's
there is a
fun.
lot of cool stuff, and that's like, for people at these shows to be able to catch my eye with gear, I have to like catch myself because I hate gear. I'm just not a gear person at all, but there's stuff that catches my eye,
Well,
and like,
again, it's just fun.
That-
Like, literally, we went by Ohio Ordnance, and we saw the Ma Deuce.
Ohio represent.
That's right.
Ohio.
So,
Awesome.
and I was like, I want that Ma Deuce. My wife's like, you should get it then. I'm like, you know, why she's the best wife ever, right? Like, if you guys ever wondered why my wife trumps all of yours, is we walked by a Ma Deuce and my wife goes, yeah, you should have that. So, you know, but we had
And then go get that armor plated 4Runner to put it up on top.
Exactly. So, no, but it's a ton of fun. You know, we all get to have the camaraderie. We all get together. Hell, we met alumni last year that we didn't know were going to be here. And we literally blocked the entire Silencer Central kiosk. We had every silencer.
That's all people that bought lifetime memberships, by the way.
Yeah.
That's not people just buying cans. That's all alumni bought lifetime
Yeah.
memberships and
So-
had the whole station
Every
full
single
of
day,
alumni.
yeah, it was us.
Silencer Central had 10 bays, and literally we had 10 tactical response alumni, all buy life memberships, all go get their cans, and took up every bay at Silencer Central.
And there were 2 more.
Yeah, there were 2 more waiting, like, can you sons of bitches hurry up? We want to get our
And
silencer.
me and Barry
Why
were the
don't you
only ones that
remember-
had to wait more than a week.
So,
Stop being fellow.
but,
Me and Barry,
you know, that's,
he's gonna be here.
yes, he is.
He'll be
Yeah.
here tomorrow.
He's standing here.
He is,
Yeah.
Oh, because he's staying
he's
here.
literally coming in to vote for somebody for the 76th.
Yeah. So it is a lot of fun. Like, you guys should come out if you have the remote possibility. It's
Well,
not
you
just.
get to do stuff like this.
The amount of laughs is just worth all.
Yeah, it is. So,
Like-
I think Marcus said it was, you know, he's like, man, I can't wait for this weekend. Last year was the funnest weekend I had all year, and it's a mixture of gear and, you know.
Hanging out.
And Austin sticking a balloon on your back.
So, no, if you come out, please look us up. Any one of us you can contact. We will show you a good time. We may or may not be able to get into.
Clarifying
That's a
question, like, when you say show them a good time, please explain.
Well, okay, so one of the fun ones.
Isaac made that promise, not me.
His wife's not here this year.
Right, yeah, she's like, go have fun with the boys. No, so there's fun stuff, there's great memories. My first year as a board member, Zach Hall and I were going around to the different booths. And
Stephanie says hello and she loves you, by the way.
Oh.
Have you seen Oscar with his new glasses?
yes.
He can take them apart now.
Well, who do you think walked her through how to put them back together? So,
She sent me the video and
Yeah.
it was like, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And I was like,
Y'all actually visited them.
so
they're about to go back
we're about to
again.
go. We're gonna go to Disney World.
We love you, Stephanie.
We do love you,
Lester.
Stephanie. So literally, Zach and I are going up and down the things, and Zach and I tend to be a little competitive against each other. And so we went to one of this. Yeah, we went to one of the simulated shooting events. So Zach was like, "You go ahead and go first." I'm like, okay, all right. So I took off my sport coat and drew the Glock, and you know, we went through and I simulated, shot down all the planes. Had a pretty good run. Zach's like, shit, I gotta try to beat that. So Zach's feeling a little bit of pressure, and he misses some plates, and I beat him. And so the next person coming up is a pro shooter. And so literally Jen, and I know you're not on here, Jen, but one of these days we'll get you a tactical response. So Jen comes up and she beats me.
I met Jen
The Axel
at
lady?
Zach's, wait.
Yes. So Jen beat my time by 0.1 seconds. And Jen's like, ha, see, I beat your buddy. And Zach's like, yeah, he's not a pro shooter. She's like, he's not a pro shooter? He's like, no, he's actually an NRA board member. She's like, that's an NRA board member?
Like
Like,
Jen's a competitive shooter?
oh yeah, she's
Yeah.
a competitive shooter.
She is awesome. Like,
So-
as a person. Like, I haven't done, saw her, but
She sold me earbuds, I liked her.
Yeah, no, my wife actually just sent the picture of all 10 of us.
At the booth?
At the booth.
Nice.
So yeah, like literally, we.
That is awesome.
That's on the alumni page from last May.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, it's fun stuff like that. So it's, me and Zach competing in a speed shooting competition, and me losing out to a pro shooter by a tenth of a second.
Oh, and Isaac showing up with another board member to the Airbnb we had last year going, hey guys, we're gonna show this guy what we talk about and what we do, because
It was this with an NRA board member that
Yeah.
we didn't know, and
Honestly, he was cool.
no, it was
Unfortunately,
awesome time.
he's had a stroke and he's not doing so well, but he was one of us. But he was one of us, rocking an Uncle Mike's holster with, his Glock 17.
You don't know until you know.
Right, and we were like, hey, this is some stuff that might help you be a little better.
I think we all started breaking out holsters, like, hey, this is what you should try, like,
Right.
these are better.
But no, you guys should come for that. Like, do I hope I get reelected? Do I hope you guys support us? Do I hope you become NRA members and continue to spread our mindset of the Second Amendment around? Yeah. But do I hope you just come and have some fun with all the alumni that are freaking awesome?
Yeah,
We
you
might
said the
bust your
com-
balls a little bit for not joining, but we still want you around.
You said the camaraderie aspect, like, if you're alumni and you're here, let us know, and we will
Yeah.
absolutely kick it.
Well, dude, Ryan didn't know, we didn't know Ryan was gonna be there last year. And Ryan came,
most of the weekend.
and yeah, he hung out with us for the rest of the week, and I was like, oh, damn, you guys are a blast. Like, I didn't know.
Literally
So-
just ran up to him.
Yeah. He was like, I think I've trained with you, and I was like,
Or we take a regular picture for the Colton Powell.
right.
And,
So,
That was the fellow with the cowboy hat.
Yeah,
yeah.
I took immediate action medical and advanced scientist and master with them.
Ryan.
Alan West.
Yeah.
And Campbell, I believe. was-
Campbell.
I won't even try to play the
Mr.
game of
17
who I have
minutes.
training classes with.
Mr. 17.
Memory is not my strong point.
All the.
As Bruce pointed
Yeah.
out.
I recognize
Take a better
faces.
class with me.
Unposted.
Right, well, and this sounds horrible, but I've taken so many classes, and people remember me a little more than I remember them, unfortunately.
Remember the bird?
And I'm
Just come
kind of
say
an
hi.
asshole, so apparently I'm pretty memorable. And
Much like me, like
Right.
I meet all of you.
right,
And well, when I'm not off having babies and shit, but because there was a break there for a little while when I was off having babies and stuff, or off doing nursing stuff. But like I meet a lot of people, and I feel bad not remembering everybody's name and stuff. And I'm like, I promise I remember your face. And if I make fun of you, like Canada over there. Like that's, I didn't know Paul's real name for so long because I was just like, nope, that's Canada.
The first time you said that in front of me, I'm like, he's not from Canada. What the? He's like, no, it's an inside joke.
right.
He had a very thick, almost Canadian
Oh, I
accent.
hear it sometimes.
So
And it's gotten a lot lighter than when I first met you.
Oh, that was in Memphis.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the Memphis accent to come
First
out.
time I did,
Paul
it was
with the
up
Memphis
there, I'm
accent.
like, what the fuck?
I thought the Memphis accent was holding a gun like this.
Very simple.
Years
So you moved to Memphis now?
outside Memphis. Well,
Bartlett.
Those by me.
but I work across the street from Orange Mound. Not recommended. We do what we gotta do.
When we were, when I went to Rangemaster to take their instructor class, this was years ago, like me and Steve Carey went, he's since passed away, but, we went up and like, they warned us in the class, like, hey guys, you can't leave any gear in your car. We are in the bad part of town. I'm like, wow, like why would you pick here? Like it didn't start out that way, but the bad part of town kind of moved to that area. Another set of our instructors at like in the Rangemaster parking lot, they busted out a window trying to find guns to steal in the truck. Like,
Did you let
Yeah.
know that you can move from the ghetto? It's possible.
If you guys have not trained in a while, one of the things that's unique, and most of us have trained at a lot of different schools, just remember, the unique thing about tactical response is if you've taken a class, you can take it again for half price.
Most classes.
Most
In
classes.
Camden.
In Camden.
in Camden.
So please come out,
Although,
retrain, and,
here's, and this is something that Joey and I were talking about today, like, even on our mobile classes, if you've had that class, but you're bringing new people, call us. Please call us. We can work something out financially. Like, we would do this stuff for free if we were, like, had some kind of trust fund set up, but we can't. We gotta feed our families. But we do everything we can to try to make stuff affordable. So, like, call us.
well, and honestly, one of the most important things, like I tell everyone that's willing to go train, like, guys, I'll go with you. Just because, number one, it's a great refresher for me. Every time I take fighting pistol, I have to take it with a different hand, a different holster, like I am, hell, when we did
That's
Paul-
why I've had it so many times,
Yeah.
all the different, because anytime I get a new bag or a new weight that I carry, I go through fighting pistol that way to make sure that I'm solid with it.
Yeah. Paul and Lewis were like, oh my gosh, on your last run, you look like you had Down syndrome. Like you were moving guns in different hands and rolling things off your chest. And I was like, I'm just trying to get all the iterations in. Like I'm not, I want to stay left hand dominant, right hand dominant. Like I want to be proficient here.
And it's fun for us to bring a friend or a loved one or whatever and introduce them
Yeah.
to this. Makes it less intimidating, I think, to know someone that's coming
Yeah.
with you.
Honestly, one of the things I've always said about Richard was he's never been afraid to take a class, like be the first one, go alone. And thank heavens I had a friend like Richard who said, hey, I think you would benefit from this. I think this is what you're looking for. And took me back down after he'd already taken a class and took me down to take the class. I never had committed the time or like, I still don't really watch YouTube, right? So these guys keep me informed on all the stuff I need to learn. And Richard said, hey, come on down, let's go. We made a great weekend of it. Brought the wives, and obviously I've never looked back since. But yeah, take a friend. Like, introduce somebody to our lifestyle, introduce somebody to our mindset. You don't know how good of a friend they are until you've trained with them.
90% of the classes I've taken twice because of a friend.
Yeah.
Nick, I've taken fighting shotgun. My son's like, I want to do it. I'm like, I'm in. Let's do it.
Right. But,
You're just happy that he wants to.
Yeah, I'm just
So-
training anybody.
and now, literally, a lot of my best friends are the guys I train with, right? Like, take somebody, introduce them to the lifestyle, introduce them to the mindset.
Bring him to NRA.
Yep.
And
Fabio just signed up for 5 years. I don't know
Yep.
if anybody knows Fabio.
Yeah, good job,
Thank you,
Fabio.
Fabio.
Congrats, Fabio. So he can vote after 1 year, I think, if you have a 5-year membership?
Unfortunately,
No, 5 years exactly.
So at the end of 5 years, he can vote?
Yeah.
Okay. So get the life membership.
So how much is the 5-year membership?
I don't know, I think it's like $200 or something.
They do a different deal, I think, every year. a little
Okay.
different.
Yeah.
But you can get into the show for free now.
Right, and in all honesty, if you just bought the 5-year and you happen to come to the show, or reach out to me, come see me, I'll hook you up with membership. We can get that moved over to a payment plan for life, if that's something that you want to do.
If you sign up for the NRA this weekend for a lifetime membership, I will give you half off of a fighting pistol class in Camden.
Oh,
If you sign up for a 5-year membership, I will give you $100 off of a fighting pistol class in Camden.
Nice.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Fabio just said 150 for 5 years.
Okay.
Dang.
I didn't know that.
So,
Yeah.
Fabio, you are more than welcome to come to Camden and take fighting pistol. And because you were the one that gave me the idea, I'll give you $150 off. Make up that membership.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, Fabio.
job, Fabio.
Thank you for the support. And thank you guys all for watching. Like I said, this
This
is,
stuff is important.
we're trying to mobilize. I'm going to hit up a couple of the other people that we train with, like Don Edwards. He's been very supportive. We'll be on, Greenline Tactical's website
And
tomorrow.
I'm sure that when we work out the affiliate deal with the NRA, that Tactical Response will be able to offer like discounts forever, like for the rest of our duration based on those.
Yeah.
So this is only a holding place and the deals won't be that good when we start doing the affiliate stuff. So get in on it this weekend, guys, if you're gonna do it. But bring the receipt. Like, show me where you joined.
Right.
So,
You said this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend. This
Preferably
weekend.
tomorrow, so you can vote Saturday.
right.
Yeah,
If you did it right
preferably.
now, I think you could probably vote Saturday, hopefully.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, we're all committed to the Second Amendment. All of us have sacrificed something to some extent. Doing the right thing is not easy. And that means literally carrying a gun every day is not easy.
No.
Carrying medical every day, all the time is not easy.
I want to take it a step further than that. Coming to the realization that you need to carry a gun and medical every day is not easy. Like living with that knowledge is not the easy route. Do you know how much happier I would be if I could just keep my head in the sand and pretend that bad things didn't happen? So even maintaining this lifestyle is not easy. Like,
Yeah. And so all of these guys coming to the NRA, all of these guys voting and becoming life members the way that they have, it wasn't easy. Like literally, Austin makes the least amount. He works as a trainer, does a phenomenal job. He has done, I love Austin, and Austin knows that. Austin and I trained together 6 years ago.
No homo.
No homo. And,
time out. What's wrong with being a homo?
It's just a clarification.
right.
Like,
And,
Nothing's wrong.
well,
homos,
no,
you are more than welcome
It's
here.
a procedure.
Right. No, actually, Austin and I got really close in determining why I got a bottom bunk and he did not. So,
Because you're
Because you're the
bottom.
bottom. You're like, hey.
so, but no, he's made the sacrifice to be a life member. And,
Well, and then something that I pride, like myself on, and like Tactical Response to my dad and Heather and Joey is like we cater, and we are one of the companies that will cater to the blue collar crowd. We have a layaway program.
right.
We have we are constantly trying to find ways and times to be able to offer discounts. And when we do it in bulk like this, we can still get enough signups for classes to where like it's okay, we can eat that cost. But like you got,
A gunshot?
Yeah.
yeah.
That was ice following.
Oh,
This isn't winter.
Like,
The
we-
layaway thing, personally, I've taken advantage of that a ton.
we
It's
cater
huge.
to the blue collar community. If we barter. Like, so we've had people, I had, Max traded me the gun that I'm carrying, the Glock that I have in my bag right now, traded me that gun for a fighting pistol class. Like, we barter.
Weight equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the one that does
That's
the,
Jim.
All the gyms from him.
I think everybody in this room is born.
Yeah.
the only one that ever does the second time is half price, and I've trained with a ton of other instructors. That is not offered by anybody else.
Yeah, I'm like, you mean, you don't give half off the second time, right?
We'll do the
Like,
same
who
class.
does that?
We'll
Like,
do the same thing with Donna. If you get DMR 3 times, they're like, it's half price for the second one. He's like, no. And I'm like, oh, that's right. You're not taking Okay. Still gonna take it, but hang
But
on.
yeah, so, no, and honestly, taking a class it's not practice,
Mm-mm.
it's training, but.
But if you don't practice, you definitely need to be doing more training.
Right. And that honestly is one of the reasons why I try to keep my training schedule up. It maintains my proficiency, because if I'm always training, maybe I don't get as much practice as I'd like. Although, fun shout out, Mantis is now one of the supporters of the NRA.
Okay.
And I have been doing a crap ton of dry fire practice with my Mantis system. It's been pretty cool.
Dry practice. When you say dry fire, people want to pull the trigger.
Ah.
Dry practice. It's different in the fighting pistol curriculum now.
But if you're using the Mantis,
Yeah.
I'm
Mantis
still
is
pulling the
the
trigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, like,
Yeah, no, you pull the trigger because it monitors where everything's going. In fact, I was the only one there out of this group, but my wife and I went to Harris, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, for the Great American Outdoor Show. And Mantis was doing a thing, and like the highest score was given a Mantis to take home. And I was
so
like,
what is that? Again, I'm not a gear person, so
Oh,
I've heard
it's-
of the company before, but
so it's a practice tool. I'm not gonna say a training tool, right? It's a practice tool. The benefit is, they have mounts, so I've actually switched out my magazines, certain magazines, to hold the Mantis on the magazine, so that I can use my gun all the ways that I want to use it in my holster, do dry fire draws and everything else. It's a system that monitors the momentum, the
You
movement.
gotta say the X. Because the
The
X
X.
is the one that measures all that. I have the other one is just the laser.
Okay, yeah, the X, that's the one that I use, and
so
so,
what is the laser or the X, like,
so let's say, I'm picking, I don't know, the bathroom
They
doorknob
have targets.
as my target. So literally I can, cock my gun, holster it, dry fire, shoot the doorknob, and it will measure the level of accuracy that I did it with.
okay.
And so,
This is something you put on your real Glock 19.
yep,
Or real rifle.
Yeah, or real.
or I've got it set for my Glock 43X, my Glock 48, my Glock 19, and so when I'm in my gym,
and my Scar 17.
So-
He forgets, like, we are all in different tax brackets.
right, but so when I'm in my gym, I have my Mantis set up, and so I will practice while I'm walking on the treadmill. I will practice after
Between sets.
between sets.
My favorite thing is just be on the treadmill and just draw. And just draw. It killed, if you're on an hour on the treadmill, it makes it a little funner.
By
This
the end
thing
of
you're
the
talking
year,
about where
we're
you
pretty
saw
trash.
Yeah.
people would have like an improved first shot, but then the second
Yeah,
shot.
well, yeah, let them cook.
So, but it's just a way to do some dry fire practice consistently and see how is my shot group doing. And you can do it with live ammo too. So I do it on the steel in my backyard. And so I can do 10 shots rapid fire, and it will actually tell me my accuracy on all 10 shots.
You do it with live ammo?
Yep, yeah, absolutely you can.
On the pistol version, because the pistol is a thing that goes underneath your barrel, like on your accessory rail.
Or it'll go on your magazine.
Magazine.
So
On
I,
mag,
yeah, I have a mag adapter.
Yeah.
So I load up my magazine and I shoot it. It's just a way to assess and stay proficient, right?
You
So
can't always get to the
actually-
range.
I actually brought up this point at the, when Paul Markle and Student of the Gun Jared, they were all down. I was just like, no, being poor has its perks. Like, I don't have to buy skill. Like,
Right.
and so you just get forced when you can't afford the fancy stuff to just get better yourself at it. But those tools, like,
So-
I'm only like shit talking because I'm jealous. Like,
Well, so a Mantis,
right? Like, hey.
a Mantis is $250. And the important thing is, we're gonna be doing dry fire practice anyway, right? And now,
See, I stopped using, like, pulling the trigger.
She says dry practice, not
Long
dry
ago,
fire.
like when we made the change in the tactical response curriculum, because so many people were having negligent discharges, doing their dry fire practice, and like, hey man, I followed your instructions, and like, I still shot my
They missed a
door.
step.
And like, nah man, you didn't follow my instructions.
Right.
So we just took it out because it, like, people that you didn't expect that were multi-alumni were having negligent discharges in their home pulling that trigger. So while I do believe that is an amazing training tool, you cannot skip any steps
Correct.
if you are taking advantage of said tool.
so the tool is still dangerous, right? It's no different than an arc welder or anything else. You can screw up and die.
Right.
So, in doing that, in fact, it's interesting, but on the Mantis software, when you're doing it, the first thing it says is, before you pull the trigger, it says, reconfirm that the gun is empty. Like, so before it even takes the next step, it says, reconfirm.
Okay.
Like, we believe that it's empty,
Yep.
but reconfirm that it's empty. And so then you reconfirm it, and okay, yes, it's empty.
So something, I'm on a podcast kick. Like, I don't watch YouTube, but I will absolutely, if you put your YouTube video in podcast form and throw it on Spotify, I'll listen to that bitch on my way to work. So on a podcast kick, and I listen to Joe Rogan and Mike Rowe, from Dirty Jobs.
Oh, my wife loves Mike Rowe.
I do too.
So,
Like, and he's such just an authentic human being.
yeah.
Side note, he got into acting through opera. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Like, if you didn't
Mike
know
did.
that, Mike Rowe was an opera singer. I think he was part of the Boston Opera or something, like one of the Yankee cities up there. But he said the Screen Actors Guild was so difficult to get into that he went a different route.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, that was all the side note stuff. He said on the for the first 2 years of Dirty Jobs or whatever it was, they had these safety briefings, and before they would go in, like the first 2 years of the show, they're going to new places with new machines and equipment, and they really paid attention to the safety briefings. He said after year 2, they started having accidents, and they had no idea why. And it is because when you get complacent with things,
Yeah.
like you start to fall back on it, and the more proficient you are at something, the more likely you are to have a safety violation with it.
So it sounds stupid and not everyone can do this. I'm not even gonna say what I do then. But I do have a dedicated Block 19, I do have a dedicated.
We know.
Well, and that's,
That
so,
just stayed
no,
printed,
they have,
so-
something that you can do if you want to pull the trigger on it, is they have the yellow drop-in barrels that you can, put it in there, and then you, like, it ensures, it's another level, like, if you are
You
taking
can't
the
change it
time
around.
to disassemble your gun, drop in the
That's a
yellow
great idea.
safety barrel, put it back together, you know the gun is unloaded. And whenever I was, I had one, and when I was having babies all the time, I did not fire a live round for 5 years. 5 years. I took a shit ton of training up until, like, we moved off when Alex joined the Army, and then I started popping out babies, and babies breastfeeding. It was 5 years without a live round. I went to the range and because I was taking a fighting pistol class, and so I went to the range and wanted to get like, hey, where am I at? Cold. I got a range shot. Cold. Do you know what I did for that 5 years?
Dry practice.
Dry fire practice. I got one of those yellow barrels, dropped it into my Glock 19, so it was a full, like, completely transitioning to an inert gun to be able to do that. And my trigger control was out of its fucking world.
Well, that's what I've noticed about yours, is my trigger control's gotten better. Now, I guess, Austin, what is your comment on that? Like, what am I missing? Is it like the second shot follow-up or something, or?
That's where most people fuck up.
Yeah, so quick background, people that don't know, I work for a training company and we had students that came through and they mentioned they would use the Mantis X specifically. The shot, picture, perfect. The follow-up shots, Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese target, because you're practicing trigger press, unless you do it with live fire. But that's
So
different
with the
thing.
Mantis, you have to rack it each time?
If you do it dry.
Yeah.
But like you said, you can do it with live fire, but these students were not doing that.
So here's the reality.
Most people probably.
Part of what I've noticed though, like, I just did Student of the Gun, right? Because, and shout out Paul Markle. and
Great class.
Great class,
We
phenomenal
love
instructor.
Student of the Gun.
Good folks.
So,
Very, very good folks.
don't know if you'll hear this, Paul, Jared, but love you guys.
Love you.
And Zach,
And Zach.
behind the scenes guy.
So what I think most people miss out on that is, yes, their first shot trigger press is phenomenal, and then they lose concentration and get sloppy. Literally, we took the class, and
I can tell you exactly what
all
happens.
of my shots were still in the same ripped out hole, because my second shot follow up is aiming at my first shot, and
So with your students, that would have happened to them with live rounds as well. They are not getting that last sight picture. That's what they're not getting it.
Well, our working theory is they're adjusting everything else to get a good trigger press to make the score go up on the Mantis. So they're adjusting their grip, they're adjusting where their finger
Okay.
is on the trigger and things.
And
like
that doesn't happen with me. Like, I focus on the
Right.
fundamentals first. I'm not even squeezing the trigger.
Well, like-
If you're a trained shooter and you go to a class and you know how to fight with a pistol, maybe you take a skills class or two, and then you're using the tool as a device to get more practice. on
Exactly
rounds.
that.
Hey, good use of the tool. If you're gonna play the video game first and then transition to a live fire range,
Okay.
probably not the best path.
Yeah, because someone, I don't know who said it, they said it's a practice tool, not a training tool.
That's what I said. It's a practice.
Yeah, it's a practice.
Training is when I go to tactical response. Training is when I go to student of the gun. Training is to get me uncomfortable, show my flaws, help me improve with positive reinforcement instruction, right? Or in the case of Tim Morris, negative reinforcement instruction. Something along those lines. So training is where I go to make mistakes and be corrected. Practice is when I redo the things that I learned at training to become more proficient. The reason why I'm using that tool is to practice the training that I've already done to reinforce those behaviors. And to give me, the reason why I like the tool, me personally, is it gives me feedback on the effectiveness that I'm doing. Like if I'm doing offhand shooting, I want to know, was I accurate in my dry fire rather than just thinking I was accurate, right? That's why I do it. For me, it's to reinforce the practice that I'm putting in.
Thank you.
Right.
in my dry fire.
So you're using it as a practice tool. Our students that are showing up are using it as a training tool.
Okay.
They're making accommodations to make the number go up on the app.
Okay, so
I
that's
didn't even understand that was the function.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, no,
it's-
second shots are always worse than the first, so they're not getting the side picture.
Yeah, 'cause that's
But
what
they're
it's
making
measuring.
adjustments to other
Right.
stuff that affects their point of aim.
Right.
Yeah.
Specifically the trigger, like how fast you press in, all these different things that give you a score out of 100.
And let's not discount the cool machine gun effect that happens the first time you fire on a 15-person line. Everybody breaks the trigger at the same time.
Yeah.
And it just makes them like, all right, 5 in the heart.
Okay, so much.
No idea where they're going.
I'm gonna do this one.
Sparkling.
So,
Like, I don't know, this one looks okay. I can't do straight energy
But no,
drinks
that's-
because they have too much other shit.
that's why I love
Well, now
this
it
group,
is.
right? Because I can get feedback. And just
Doesn't
go,
give me
no,
heart
hey,
palpitations.
tell me when I'm wrong.
This might be the longest lasting.
Maybe I am wrong. But now you know how I'm using it and why I'm using it, and maybe I'm doing okay with it.
So it's like, one of the reasons I like training with you is we actually, neither one of us mind constructive criticism, and we actually prefer it. What did I do wrong? Like, we get done with the class and we're over there going, what I suck at, because we don't really have that ego, because we're really just there to learn. And I found that to be the most helpful for me, because you can all say, man, you did a good job, buddy.
Yeah,
That doesn't help me any.
I didn't take 4 days off work, pay $700 to get a pat on the back.
No,
What did I suck at, man?
when Bruce says, hey,
Milligrams?
if there's a long range shot in your household, it should probably be your wife taking it, not you. I'm like, okay, all right. Anything past 400 yards, Heather, you shoot it, because Bruce has said I probably shouldn't be the one shooting that target. So
Joey and I were talking about red dots on the way up here. And when I taught a fighting pistol class with Tim, one of the students was like, hey, Kayla, we want to see you do this drill. I was like, Tim, give me your gun. It doesn't have zombie killers in it. So I used his gun, and he has a red dot and a big dot on the gun. And I have grown up shooting big dot sights. I do not own a pistol with a red dot mounted to it.
give it
Like,
10 years.
And
You're-
and I tell people, like, if you're, a red dot is a cheat. And if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But you have to train with it. Because what I found when I did the drill, it was the serpentine drill in fighting pistol.
Yeah.
So you're shooting on the move. Like, it was super easy to see the dot and put, like, because Tim uses the circle, it was super easy to get it on there. When that was the sight I was paying attention to, I kept going back and forth, and like I would get low shots trying to find the big dot, and I was like, huh, I'm done, like, this sucks, I don't want a red dot.
I'm not
But
going to use his last name.
it's
but,
the training part of it.
Ben, right?
Mhm.
So, we took a fighting pistol class, and Ben was taking it with us, and Ben had a red dot. And Rich and I were like, we don't need those damn red dots, like, we can do our iron sights, we're well trained, screw that. And we get to the moving and shooting, and this guy who was blooming, the whole damn time with his red dot on a paper target, like, my groups are good, Richard's groups are good, Ben's groups are not as good. He's shooting a red dot. We're like, see, you don't need a red dot. We got to the moving and shooting part, and he's like, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we're like, ding, ding, miss, miss, miss,
Where are the
ding,
other,
miss, ding, miss,
other
miss,
range
ding.
going?
Hey,
Like, well, who the
okay.
hell is shooting over there?
But my problem with
Good
red
Lord.
dots is, like, I have a really bad astigmatism. And if I don't get the correct dot or reticle in there, it completely blows out the whole screen for me.
So
I was
there's
like-
an instructor that we took, and he actually had nothing but nice things to say about tactical response. So
You
Je-
sound surprised.
well, no, so
Like-
Jedi, Scott Jelinski.
Okay.
So he's never taken a tactical response class. And Richard and I took a Scott Jelinski class, and we were doing stop, and we were scanning, and we were moving, and students were saying, man, like, why are they doing all that shit? And,
What's with the tactical period?
When you yell stop at someone else's class.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing,
You're
right?
like,
I've accidentally yelled fight.
Well, so we were doing that, and they were like trying to say, well, like, obviously they don't know what they're doing and stuff. And Scott Jelinski goes, look, I'm not going to say one negative thing about tactical response. He was like, I teach people to shoot faster with a red dot. They teach people tactics, which I'm not teaching you. That's not what I teach. I teach people how to shoot faster with a red dot.
It's a skill.
And so they can do whatever they want. And so, we had him over to the hot tub that night, drinking bourbon, having a good time. And he's like, no, well, I consider myself, a proficient fighter. I do jujitsu, I do this. He was like, I think your tactics are perfectly sound. I have nothing to base a criticism off of. I've never been in a gunfight, right? Like, it's not what I do. Very down to earth, very nice guy. He taught me to shoot red dot faster and better and more accurate.
I just need to take a red dot class.
You also
in
told us how to
Kimball.
lie. You go up to the lanes, you go, okay, make your gun hot. And the guys are like, yes, did they believe it?
Yeah, oh, it was fucking hilarious. We literally go up, you know, we've got our gun in our holster, we're ready to go. And he's like, yeah, he's like, okay, guys, make your guns hot.
Could just rack it and rack around.
Scott just, he heard it. It was like, if you haven't already.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Hey, I was there too.
That's okay, that's right.
Take Don's red dot class.
I'm going to.
We're taking that in May.
May 3rd.
I won't be able to do the May one because I'm doing the filming for
Unacceptable.
the other stuff. But no, he's coming to Camden. I'm gonna take his June class that he's teaching, or July, whichever one is around.
The one in
now.
June, or you
He's
taking
taking
that,
a June, he's got a June one?
doing DMR?
He's doing DMR after alumni?
After alumni.
I'm taking them.
The red dot.
Taking that one 3 times.
What up,
Honestly, I
Don?
might have to take- If he's doing that, I might have to take that again.
But if
Like,
he's doing red dot in June, I gotta get there.
I was gonna try to do the one with you guys, but
I
that's
don't
not
know
really
which
soon.
one he's like.
I don't
So
think
Don
so.
is the kind of instructor that it doesn't matter what class he has on the schedule. Like you're gonna learn something if you take it.
Right.
So while I do want to take the red dot stuff from Don, I'm like anything from Don is gonna work for me right now because it's getting to train with Don.
I am not as good a long range shooter as Bruce.
I can't
Or
see
my
that
wife.
far.
There's nobody in this room that is.
I can't see that
Bruce is
far.
phenomenal, my wife is phenomenal, I'm not, but I will keep taking that class because it has improved me as a long range shooter, even if I still suck-ish. But thank you for not being so hard on me. My wife is hard on me, she kind of
hard
rubs
on
in.
I'm taking that one 3 times. I love it.
So,
No,
DMR.
yeah.
But I'm nervous about the long range stuff because, like we were talking specifically about the mall shot where the dude took the 40-yard shot. And I told
Yeah.
Joey, he was just like, that is why Joey transitioned to a red dot.
Yeah.
He was like, I can hit like heart shots all day long with my big dots. But if I need to make that shot, and I'm like, Joey, I'm just being honest, I can't see that shot clearly at 40 yards, even with a red dot.
Well, I was,
It does change it though. So here's the thing, I have astigmatism as well.
Mhm.
Part of what you learn is what reticle to use.
Okay,
Now look,
and I'm going to take the
Look,
class so that I know.
I love Lewis, I love Tim, I will never use the reticles that they use. I use the smallest 2 MOA dot that I can, because my astigmatism turns it into a,
It blows out the entire screen.
But they don't have astigmatisms, right?
Lewis does.
right,
Really?
but
I think I'm
my,
pretty sure Lewis does.
my single dot is turned into a clover leaf anyway, right? So,
Yeah, he is called.
I'm accurate with it, but I'm shooting a clover leaf, I'm not shooting
Sure.
a dot. Because my
The
astigmatism.
benefit that red dots have in our sights is being able to focus on one.
Correct.
One-
That is a,
Focus on one thing.
That's the most.
So I missed it. We
I
were
agree
having
with
our
Your
own.
eyes can only focus on one thing at a time. And if there's guys shooting bullets at you, I want to focus my attention on him.
that's the biggest game changer of a red dot.
What?
When you look at a red dot,
I can't shoot with both eyes open if that's the biggest
No, no, no,
change.
no, no.
Okay,
You got it.
I can't.
you actually will.
I have, so, like, when I do this and I have like just my right eye, like my thumb is completely on Paul's face, over here, it's next to Isaac's ear. Like I have, it's BVD, the binocular vision, like I cannot shoot with 2 eyes open. It changes the actual point of where somebody is.
But what I want you to
Yeah, he
do,
does.
forget your eyes for a second. Can you see Paul's nose?
Yes.
When you're, yeah, it's freaking huge. When you're shooting a red dot, you're not looking at a sight. You're looking at Paul's nose.
Mhm.
All you're doing is covering up Paul's nose with a red dot.
It's right, focus
You're not
on the
looking
front
through
side.
anything.
So, and I understand what
The
you're
problem
saying.
she has is she can only use one eye.
Like I
Right.
can't.
So go
So
ahead and
when
close
I
your
look-
eyes.
That was one eye.
So if I'm looking at you like this,
can you shoot
I
two
can
eyes
keep-
open with iron sights?
no.
So,
Because with the-
So if I point at you
Left eye,
with both of my eyes open, I
right
see
eye
2
superimposes
fingers.
the red
Okay.
dot on the target.
Like I don't see one finger. If both of my eyes are open, I see 2 fingers right here. So even if I have both eyes open with a red dot, I see 2 of them. I don't see one. So I physically have to shut. And in tactical response, we tell people, you need to get to where you can shoot with both eyes open. Like, that opens up so much more of your field of vision. Like, I am physically incapable of making accurate hits with both eyes open because it gives me double vision up close.
So here's kind of
How
the
are you seeing
thing.
two dots though? Because you can't.
How am I seeing two fingers?
Well, because both of your eyes can see your finger, but with a dot, only one eye can really look through the window at a
Not
time.
when I hold the gun out here.
You're built different than I am. Because I'm the same way. I cannot shoot irons with both eyes open. Because same thing. I just see two front sights.
We'll try some red dots with it.
Yeah.
But with a dot, I can only see
If
through the
dot-
window with one
yeah.
eye.
And the other reason you'll get the red dots is when you get older and you just start losing the sights. I can't see a front sight.
The point that Bruce was making and why we like it so
I
much.
missed that point. Like, we were talking
Okay.
about something else.
On a red dot, you're actually, like if I am, Austin, you know, I love you, but I'm still gonna shoot you. If I'm shooting Austin, when I'm looking through my red dot, I'm not looking at my sight.
No, you're target focused with the red dot.
I'm focused on Austin,
Yeah.
and it doesn't frickin' matter. Like, that's all I'm focused on.
Mm-hmm.
A tiny bit of Austin is covered up by a red dot, and that's what I'm shooting. And that's the biggest benefit of that red dot shooting.
Sure.
So-
What she's saying is her left eye can only focus on the target, the right eye can't superimpose the image on the target.
Right. And
So
she
don't
may
spend your
have-
money on dual tubes.
Yeah, a PPS 14 is gonna be just fine for you, so.
Yeah, like I cannot, like I said, I see double. It's the actual, like, I will see two red dots when the gun is out.
I don't know. So you can.
I don't know which one's the real one to see.
I just don't know how you're seeing two
In the middle, you
dots.
split the difference.
Because I can only see through one eye at a time with the dot. Because I'm exactly same with irons. I cannot shoot irons with both eyes open. I just see two
But-
front sights and two targets.
Okay, if I, like, hold your finger out in front of you,
Yeah.
how many fingers do you see looking at Isaac?
Well, if I look at Isaac and I can see two fingers. But if I look at my finger, I can see one.
Right.
Actually,
But now I
but-
see two Isaacs.
But this is the same distance when I'm extended out that a red dot's gonna be at. I see two reticles, like two actual red dot sights. Which one's real?
Right, but I
That's what
don't.
you do to a
I'm just saying I don't.
with a Crimson Trace laser.
You're like, you know what, not class and shoot 1,500 rounds.
I'm just saying, like, I've never been able to see
what I
the
did.
dot with
Right.
both eyes at the same time. It's either one or it's the other, depending on which eye it's over.
We'll have some
I'm
fun
not
after
talking
lunch.
about just the dot. Like, if
I know.
this is the gun and this is the dot, I see this.
Right.
Which one's real?
No, I get what you're saying, because I can understand why it's with the front sight, because you can see the front sight with both eyes at all times. So I'm saying when you're looking through a window, you must be looking through the window with both eyes at the same time to see both dots.
Yeah,
Isn't that what you're supposed?
No,
no.
you look through one at a time.
Yeah, when you learn left-hand shooting, because you have a dominant eye, right? Which
I'm
one's your
right-eye
dominant?
dominant.
Right eye dominant. So when you're shooting left-handed, what do you do? Yep. When you're shooting red dot, what do you do? Same thing, no, same thing.
Oh, left-handed?
No, doesn't matter.
You're still using the dominant eye.
Still using
Okay.
dominant eye.
I'm cross-eyed dominant, so I'm right-handed, but dominant,
Yeah.
so all I got
So-
is
So what, like,
I do a ton of left-hand shooting
how do you
because
make your eyes do that?
turn your head.
I've never had this problem. Because
Good for you.
I'm saying the window's so small. Well, do you shoot
That's
up?
for yards, Austin Kilmer.
that's what you should try practice with
So
red
like,
dots.
so you're looking through the window. You're looking at both eyes through the
New
window.
red.
The gun is far enough out.
All right, when we're done with live stream, we are,
This is the
we're
longest
doing some
one.
dry
We're
practice.
2.5
So
hours
we're
in.
gonna figure this out.
Live stream. This is the
So,
longest live
yeah,
stream.
we should probably,
3 hours.
Yeah.
guys, thank you so much for being a part of this.
You got to get
Goodbye, Heather.
the important
Bye,
stuff.
honey.
Now, there's still 13 people on here with us,
So-
guys.
Real G's,
Yeah.
real one. Cheers.
Y'all-
So,
yeah, y'all-
sweetie, I'll
Wish you were here with
Look,
us.
hold on.
Yeah, next year we'll do it live.
He didn't even make it the whole time.
Rest in peace.
So we appreciate you guys hanging out with
Yeah,
us.
cheers, brother.
Cheers, guys.
This is the way.
Yep.
This is the way.
This is the
That's the
way.
way.
Oh, it's- I was trying to use that one and stuff.
Sheldon, end it.
Okay, but